brought to you in Spanish. We're available using the SAP button on your television. It is Halloween week. It's the Black Hole. It's these two storied franchises. As Taiwan Jones back deep to return. And Sean Sweezum, the hero from last week, 8th career game-winning field goal in the win over the Ravens, and the 6th time he's done it as a member of the Steelers. Steelers have only made 2 appearances in Oakland since 1995. They're here for the 2nd straight year, and we are underway in Oakland on CBS. Jones from 5 yards deep in his own end zone, across the 20, and finally forced out of bounds just inside the 30. And it looked like Sweezum was among the tacklers
during the return. Holding
2 yards.
Receiving team, number 35, half the distance to the goal. 1st and 10, Oakland.
And Terrelle Pryor, the Jeanette, Pennsylvania native, about 30 miles from Pittsburgh. Rich, a big moment against his hometown team.
Yeah, he grew up, as you said, right outside Pittsburgh, and of course watched this team as a youngster, played high school basketball and football, and of course went to Ohio State. So he's a guy that's very amped and looking forward to the opportunity to play against his hometown team.
Raiders 2-4. They have it 1st and 10. After the penalty, they spotted at the 7. They hand off. It's Pryor. Lot of real estate to the 30. Pryor is off and running inside Steelers territory. 20, 10, and Pryor is in. 93 yards, and the Raiders storming out of the gate.
Well, you see the fake. Of course, it's going to draw the action. You see the squeeze. No one accounted for Terrelle Pryor. And once he gets in the open field, no one's going to bring him down from behind.
And how about that start for the 24-year-old quarterback? These fans still stunned as they are on that Pittsburgh sideline. First rushing touchdown of 20-plus yards in a long time.
Well, watch what happens. So watch the reaction from the Pittsburgh defense once they see McFadden on the fake. The backside linebacker, Lamar Woodley seals. Everybody has their eyes on McFadden, and no one senses Terrelle Pryor pull the ball to the edge. I mean, look at this hole. I mean, Troy Polamalu, he gets outflanked, and no one inside to account for Terrelle Pryor. You talk about the way you want to start a football game if you're the Oakland Raiders.
Rich, there was a question how the young man, who again has limited experience, would handle Mike Tomlin and Dick LeBeau's defense. That kind of a start will loosen the young man up.
Well, we talked with Dick LeBeau, the defensive coordinator of Pittsburgh, last night, and we asked him, where does it all start? Most teams, it starts with stopping a big thumper, a big running back like a guy like McFadden. He said, no, not with the Oakland Raiders. Their leading rusher, their leading passer, that's the guy we have to account for on every single snap.
76-year-old Dick LeBeau, the legendary defensive coordinator. And that's something that opposing offenses have not done much of against this Steelers defense.
You get a real sense for his speed in the open field. I mean, that's unusual for a quarterback.
Just a freakishly talented athlete. Pryor is at 6'4", 233 as Janikowski boots it through the back of the end zone. Ben Roethlisberger, 28th career game-winning drive last week in the 4th quarter. And Rich, you see his numbers over the last 3 games.
Yeah, and all the talk this week from the Oakland defensive players is about how difficult this guy is to get on the ground. So big and so strong. They said you have to assume he's never down, but he's probably as good as any quarterback in football at extending plays.
Roethlisberger, the 2-time MVP, 2-time Super Bowl champ. Nearly 1,700 yards passing over the first 6 weeks. 1st and 10 from the 20. Roethlisberger's going to air it out. Incomplete. Intended for Antonio Brown. As we take a look at the starters in front of Roethlisberger. David Castro, second-year man, the 24th overall pick in the 2012 NFL Draft. Arguably his best day as a pro last week. And Le'Veon Bell, what a three-game stint it has been for the 21-year-old rookie, who has the makings of a star written all over him. Missed the first 3 games with that midfoot sprain. Career high 93 yards last week in the win over the Ravens. 2nd and 10 from the 20. Roethlisberger slight play action. Fake over the middle. Heath Miller going nowhere. C.O. Moore on the tackle after a gain of just a yard. Starters up front for the Raiders behind the coordinator Jason Tarver. Lamar Houston, 3 sacks to lead his defense. The linebackers, Nick Roach, the man in the middle, 6 years in Chicago. And this arguably the biggest improvement on this entire Raiders team from a year ago. That secondary headline by the future Hall of Famer Charles Woodson. You saw Tarver on that Oakland sideline. 3rd and 9, they spot it at the 21. Roethlisberger incomplete through the hands of Miller, and the Steelers will punt.
Well, they got the matchup they wanted. The tight end, Heath Evans, and they just can't get him the ball. Heath Miller just can't get him the ball. Better throw here to Heath Miller by Ben Roethlisberger may get it done. Double the outside receivers and allow the tight end to be one-on-one inside.
Zoltan Mesko back deep. The punt from inside the 10. Left-footed kicker. And this is Jacoby Ford from his own 34. Ford has some real estate inside Steelers territory. Fumble. The ball's still loose. It's out of bounds, and the Raiders somehow will retain possession. 46-yard punt, and it is a return of 20 after the fumble by Ford. Raiders getting the early break in front of the Steelers, 7-0 on CBS. Well, they haven't even played 90 seconds yet. Yet we've made history here in Oakland. Terrelle Pryor, 93-yard rush, the longest run ever by a quarterback in NFL history. Rich, touchdown or not?
Woo! How about that longest Raider run, though? You look at Pryor ahead of Bo Jackson.
Pretty good company for the young man as Pryor back onto the field. 1st and 10 from the 47. Pryor over the middle. That's McFadden inside Steelers territory, tackled after a gain of 7. Vince Williams, the rookie linebacker, getting there first. Take a look at the starters up front. Stefan Wisniewski out the last 2 games with a knee injury. A huge addition back to the starters up front. Darren McFadden struggling, just over 90 yards over the last 3 games since tweaking that hamstring. An injury that caused him to miss a game in late September in Washington. 2nd and 3. That is McFadden needing to get to the 42. It looks to be a yard or 2 short after a pickup of just 1. Starters up front, Brett Kiesel. Still not showing many signs of slowing down. His 12th year in the league now, 35 years of age, headlining that defensive front. Lawrence Timmons, 17 tackles a week ago. A lot of them coming after breaking his left hand late in the game. And Troy Polamalu, 5-time All-Pro, the quarterback of the Steelers secondary. 3rd and 2 inside the 45. Pryor, quick drop, and it is incomplete. Bryce Butler had it, but the rookie out of San Diego State can't bring it in. William Gay on the coverage, and Oakland will punt.
Yeah, Bryce Butler's just got to squeeze it. Nice job by the quarterback getting it out quickly on the perimeter. And again, the veteran William Gay able to come up and knock it out.
And Rich, it looks like they are going to roll the dice. How about this decision? 4th and 2.
Well, there's always the possibility here, Spiro. No snap, no play. Try to draw the Steelers off sides. A gutsy call. I think he tries to use a hard count here against the Steelers front. quite as good unless it's in sequence. In other words, if you have a
5-yard penalty, 4th down.
good effort, though. Good try by Dennis Allen. Veteran defense like the Steelers, it's something that they've obviously covered and talked about.
Rich, elaborate on that. What do you mean by sequence?
Well, sometimes it's better when it's in rhythm, where you're not, there's not a little bit of a break, and then you're talking about what to do. It's better when you go out and you just go right from the huddle as if you're really going for it. You make the substitutions, you just get up there, and it's within the normal rhythm of your offense.
Marquette King, second-year punter. Spent all the last season on IR with a leg injury. Antonio Brown calls for the fair catch and watches it bounce through the end zone. A 49-yard punt from Marquette King. Ben Roethlisberger back onto the field. Pryor's Raiders in front, 7-0.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Fruit of the Loom. Start happy. And by Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram.
Well, you don't usually have to tell these people to dress up, but it is Halloween week. Just adding an extra layer of zaniness in the black hole. 7-0 and 93-yard touchdown run on the first play of the game by Terrelle Pryor, the difference. This is Le'Veon Bell, the rookie out of Michigan State, second-round pick. Rich, last weekend, 93 yards. Most that he has run for in his career this first year. He only had 90 yards on the season in the previous 2 games before last week.
Yeah, and they really feel that they have a running back that they believe in. We sat down with Mike Tomlin last night. He said, look, we've got the bigger back with quick feet who lowers his pads and runs downhill. And that's exactly how they want these backs to run behind this big offensive line.
Well, they say that Bell is just tailor-made for the Steelers system. Can do a little bit of everything. 2nd and 7. Draw play on the take from Roethlisberger across the 25 and a pickup of only a couple. Tomlin said the one thing he loved about him is you see Tomlin's counterpart, Dennis Allen, youngest head coach in the NFL. But Tomlin said the one thing I liked about Bell is that, it's so hard to evaluate running backs coming out of college. They knew what he was playing in a pro-style offense at Michigan State.
Yeah, they knew exactly. An eye back that could run the power and the toss and the OTs and those type of things. I mean, he didn't play in a system, Spiro, that had, the wildcat and the zone option read. He was a pure tailback.
What do the Steelers have drawn up? This is 3rd and 4. Screen pass to Emmanuel Sanders, and he's going backwards. Mike Jenkins on the tackle as they dump him for a loss of 3.
Well, they love quick screens, and not just on the early downs. They'll throw them on 3rd down as well. And if you're a corner for the Oakland Raiders, you better be able to come up and tackle. That was a really nice job there by Mike Jenkins.
Rich, how difficult is it for an offense to get something going when you give up a big defensive play like that? It just seems like it throws everything off.
Yeah, and this is an offense that hasn't started well this season, and they haven't scored an opening drive touchdown all year, and now they find themselves behind 7-0 to the Raiders.
Mesko's kick is blocked. It's picked up by the Steelers at around the 35-yard line. Rashad Jennings is the man who got a hand on it. And this is about as bad a start as the Steelers could have ever imagined.
Punt was blocked. First touching by the kicking team. 26-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 because of the touching at the 26.
Rich, it looked like Mesko never had the snap cleanly. As we'll take another look right here, there's Tomlin.
Yeah, he's just going to see he's going to come off the edge. Oh, what a great effort. Just gets that right hand out there, and it's just enough to get a piece of the punt. Beats Paulson, the backup tight end, right across his face.
So short field for Pryor, 1st and 10. They mark it down at the 26. McFadden. Actually, it was Marcel Reese, fullback, with his first take, and they said all week long Rich, we've got to get Reese more touches, whether it's running out of the backfield or as a screen player in the pass game.
Well, they've got to get the running backs more involved. I mean, we know what Terrelle Pryor can do, but McFadden's been slow this year. He's battled injuries once again, and Marcel Reese, Rashad Jennings. They just haven't had the consistency in the running game at the running back position.
9th in the NFL in rushing yards per game on the Raiders. This is 2nd and 8. Pryor under pressure somehow gets it off to McFadden. As Pryor shows off the athleticism, Rich, just to get that pass off. Raiders still lose a couple of yards.
Well, we talked about Big Ben being a tough guy to get on the ground, and Terrelle Pryor is similar. I mean, you watch him drift here. He sees it. He's so strong up top, and he's so quick. He's got great elusiveness as well. The area where he has to get better, we've been talking about this for a couple weeks now with Terrelle Pryor, Spiro, is functioning as a passer in the pocket. And that's what the Pittsburgh Steelers want to do today. Set the edge and keep this guy contained and force him to sit back there and make the difficult throw.
Pryor from the gun, 3rd and 10. Over the middle, it's Denarius Moore. First down, Raiders inside the 15-yard line after a pickup of 15 yards.
Yeah, he's just going to run the slant, and when Pryor gets his head around and his eyes on the target, he can be very accurate. And this is a route that they really like in this system of theirs, this quick slant to Denarius Moore.
Moore, the 3rd-year wideout out of Tennessee, former 5th-round pick in 2011, is the Raiders' top receiver so far this season. McFadden on a direct snap. Bowls his way across the line of scrimmage inside the 10. And that's something that Dick LeBeau was expecting to see some of today, Rich, that Wildcat.
Well, you've got to expect it all with this Raiders offense. Of course, McFadden's got a lot of history of the Wildcat from his time at Arkansas. Move Pryor outside, and you get an advantageous look with one less defender in the box.
McFadden said this week this is exactly the kind of defense he likes to run against. Physical, as he tries to get downhill against this vaunted Steelers defense. 2nd and 5. Handoff. McFadden lunges end zone. Touchdown. And the Raiders blitzing the Steelers here at the start.
Well, one team looks tired and one team looks fresh. You look at the Raiders coming off of this bye. They're getting off the ball. They're getting up on the 2nd level. And that was a terrific effort by Darren McFadden.
There's the reaction from the 41-year-old head coach. I don't think anyone saw this coming. 7-yard run for McFadden as Pryor takes the short field. And the silver and black with a 2-touchdown lead over their longtime AFC rivals. You're watching the NFL on CBS. And Pennsylvania native Terrelle Pryor, who grew up just outside Pittsburgh, about 30 miles outside the city. 2-sport star at Jeanette High, was one of the top high school basketball players for the Jeanette Jayhawks. Wasn't too long ago, Rich. About 5 years ago.
A lot of people thought he could have gone to the NBA. He was such a great basketball player, of course. It was fun talking to Dick LeBeau and Mike Tomlin about him last night. They both watched him as a prep star in the Pittsburgh area. And, of course, they said he was a celebrity at a very young age, and he handled it well. He really did whatever he wanted to on the football field. No one could stop Terrelle Pryor.
And interestingly enough, Pryor said he never wanted to play for the Steelers. He wanted to get away from home, felt that there would be too many distractions for him at that age. But there's no doubt, listening to Mike Tomlin talking about him last night, the admiration has been there on Tomlin's part, watching this kid grow and develop for a long time.
Yeah, and I like the fact that he didn't come into the league with a silver spoon in his mouth. It was a supplemental pick by Al Davis, had to work, and finally got the opportunity to compete for the starting job in training camp.
Janikowski's pick fielded by Jonathan Dwyer. Dwyer out past the 20, across the 25, and tackled after a return of 25 yards. So Pryor's counterpart, Ben Roethlisberger, trying to get the Steelers on the board when we come back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Nationwide Insurance. Nationwide is on your side. And by Verizon. Powerful answers.
Third possession for the Steelers. They've got it 1st and 10 from the 27. Steelers still looking for their first down. Roethlisberger faking right, finding Bell out past the 30-35 and brought down just shy of the Steelers 40, 11 yards, and the Steelers move the chains for the first time. And Rich, about as rough a start as Mike Tomlin could have ever dreamt of.
If you're this Pittsburgh offense, and you got to take a deep breath, this is not the way you're hoping to start the game, and you just find a way to get the running game going. You want to stick to the game plan and not push the panic button.
Mike Adams into the game as an extra tackle. There he is at the bottom of your screen. Roethlisberger on 1st and 10, completes over the middle. Heath Miller awkwardly tackled to the floor as he comes down to the turf, and they say incomplete.
You just off the play action. This is really where they can hurt you, and you're just going to see Heath Miller work all the way across the formation. You just don't get the sense, Spiro, that this guy is 100%. He was their leading receiver a season ago with 71 catches. He's kind of the comfort blanket for Ben Roethlisberger.
Completed catch versus incomplete.
See the red challenge flag thrown out by Mike Tomlin. Miller now in his 9th season, 31 years of age, former first-round pick. Still trying to get comfortable following that devastating ACL injury late last season. Stay with us. Lead or not, Rich, I think the Steelers are just going to be happy that Miller's okay. This is the same right knee that he hurt late last December.
Yeah, safety Usama Young comes in there and just goes right at the right knee of Heath Miller. And I think this is a catch. I think he makes a football move. I think as he's going down, his right elbow hits the ground and that ball pops out. You get a good look at it from this angle. Look at Usama Young. That's right after, as you said, right at the surgically repaired knee. He just took that knee brace off, I believe, a week or so ago. He does so many little things well for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, the rule is that you have to maintain possession through contact with the ground. Let's see what the officials rule here. They need conclusive video evidence to overturn. Again, the call is incomplete pass.
Well, I looked at it. It looked to me like he caught the football, turned up field, was trying to make a football move. He gets hit, and as he goes down, that right arm hits the ground and causes the ball to pop out. The big question is that did he have possession of the ball before he gets hit and goes down? I think it's a catch.
After reviewing the play, the receiver with possession turned 180 degrees, performing a football move after the third foot was down. The ruling is a completed catch at the 48-yard line. We're going to place the ball at the 48 and measure to determine whether it's a first down.
John Parry, our referee. Rich, you hit it on the head.
Yeah, and remember now, Heath Miller didn't even return to action until week 3 against Chicago, and I mentioned that knee injury he suffered in week 16 last year, an ACL. So he makes all the difference in the world for Ben Roethlisberger, just having him back out there, a guy that he really trusts in the middle of the field.
And they say first down Steelers, so a great challenge by Tomlin pays off. And the Steelers will see if that can't get the offense going, down 14-0 here with 6:32 to play in the first.
It was actually a really nice throw by Ben Roethlisberger. As we went back and watched it a couple times, Spiro, I think he's trying to hold him up in the hole. I think Ben sees out in front of the throw. I think he sees the safety out there, and he's trying to stop Heath Miller from that collision.
This is Steelers offense that has so many different looks. Last weekend you saw Todd Haley lining up Le'Veon Bell all over the field. It's been a slow start here today. Down by a couple of touchdowns. 1st and 10. Bell tripped up by Lamar Houston, who's had a tremendous year for this Raiders defense. Loss of 3.
Well, you don't see as much of this from Le'Veon Bell. They don't really encourage this. He's more of a downhill runner, but he does have an option there to bounce it. Really nice adjustment by Lamar Houston. He's not going to allow Bell took it outside.
Jason Tarver told us on Friday Houston has all the tools and just has to do it with a little bit more consistency, but he has had some huge moments. 2nd and 13. Brown on a little screen pass inside Raiders territory, and a pickup of about 6. Oh, with NFL Mobile's free trial, get 30 minutes of free live video access to exclusive premium content on your smartphone now through October the 29th. Visit NFL.com/mobile to learn more. Message and data rates may apply.
Good look at Pittsburgh Steelers offensive coordinator Todd Haley. Enjoyed their visit last night. I think just the relationship, Spiro, between himself and Ben Roethlisberger, much better than it was a year ago. I think they're on the same page in terms of what this offense should look like.
Haley goes 3 wides on 3rd and 7. Roethlisberger under pressure, and it's incomplete. Emmanuel Sanders, the man he was trying to target. And a busy opening quarter for Zoltan Mesko as the Steelers will punt.
Well, we talked about how difficult Ben Roethlisberger is to sack. I mean, a clean shot him there by Tracy Porter. The thing that Ben does such a good job of is sliding up inside the pocket. Just couldn't get on the same page there with his wide receiver.
Jason Tarver, the Raiders defensive coordinator, Rich, saying bringing Roethlisberger down, he's almost like a science. They touched on it earlier. They worked on those aiming points, target points on Roethlisberger all week, and so far it's paid off. They've knocked him off his spot. As Mesko boots it 49 yards and through the end zone. 14-0 Raiders on CBS. Well, the margin for error for Mike Tomlin's Steelers minuscule in that AFC North. They started 0-4, have won a couple of games in a row, but Cincinnati, Rich, already up 14-0 today, trying to create some separation at the top of the division.
Yeah, you just can't afford to fall any further behind, and this Mike Tomlin talked to us last night about Spurley. This is a critical game for them on the road.
1st and 10, Silver and Black have it from their own 20. This is Darren McFadden for a couple of yards. McFadden, 6th year, missed another game earlier in the season. Trying to get right for the Raiders. We'll see why millions of fans have followed Person of Interest to its new night and time. Don't miss a new episode Tuesday, 10/9 Central, only CBS. McFadden's 24th game missed over the last 5+ years. If they've ever needed him against the defense, it's today. As the Raiders work 14 points in front. 2nd and 8. Pryor keeping the play going across the 25 and runs out of bounds right at the marker at the 30-yard line.
You look at Pryor in the pocket, and the footwork is not very good. Just watch him. He's all over the place. Not setting his feet. He's drifting. His eyes are everywhere. He's looking for a lane to run. Tries to pump it, but when he pumps the ball, he freezes the rush. And then when he gets outside here, he gets a little block from his backup tight end, Jerron Mastrud. It allows him to get up there by the 1st down mark. Good look at Greg Olson. I think he's done an outstanding job as the offensive coordinator.
Still need a yard for the 1st down. McFadden has it, and a lot more across the 35. And you see McFadden, Rich, upset with himself. Thought that he could have possibly broken a big one there. 10 yards and a Raiders 1st down.
Yeah, and according to the Raider coaches, this has been his best week of practice. He's healthy, and they've got to get him going. And that takes the pressure off of everything else they're trying to do offensively, especially with their young quarterback.
You know, high point of the season for McFadden came on September the 15th here against a Jacksonville defense that has not been very good at 129 yards, but aside from that, there hasn't been much to talk about from McFadden. 1st and 10 from inside the 40. Pryor somehow stays up, pass is incomplete. Intended for the backup rookie tight end Michael Rivera out of Tennessee. How did Pryor avoid that sack?
Well, you know, you're going for the ball. You're going to see Woodley. He's going to beat the right tackle. McCants around the edge. And then he just as he's diving for him, Pryor's able to slide to his left. But really good pressure there by Lamar Woodley.
That's the 2nd time that Woodley has been right at Pryor and unable to make a cut. 2nd and 10 after the incompletion. This is Rashad Jennings' first take. Across the original line of scrimmage, brought down at around 42 after a pickup of 3. Tackle made by Brett Kiesel.
Well, it was important to get their starting center back this week. Stefan Wisniewski was able to practice a little bit during the bye week. He hasn't played. He didn't play when we saw him against Kansas City. That really hurt their production. They counted him for so many things, particularly the communication, both the running and the passing game. They struggled without him against the Chiefs. They got 10 sacks against that Kansas City front seven.
Wisniewski, a Pittsburgh native, started Pittsburgh Central Catholic High School, taking on his former hometown team. 3rd and 7, Pryor spinning away from the defense and throws a pick. Troy Polamalu, and he's inside Raiders territory as Ben Roethlisberger will have a short field. Tackle made by Wisniewski, but not before a return of 17 yards.
You know, there's certain players that just always seem to be around where the action is. You see here just a 4-man rush. Pryor gets outside. He's not able to set his feet. He's thrown back across his body. High with the throw, and Troy Polamalu right there for the easy interception. We just talk about certain guys just have a knack, a feel for where they need to be. And number 43 clearly is one of them.
Troy Polamalu, the 7-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro. He has done it year after year after year. And for Polamalu, his first interception in 2013. Roethlisberger on 1st and 10, completes over the middle. It's Jericho Cutchery inside the 40. And close to another Steelers first down. He's got 11 as Pittsburgh moves the chains. And there's Polamalu. Rich, finally healthy. He has not missed the snap as we take another look at the replay.
Yeah, he's just going to wait until Cotchery's able to work all the way across the field. We talked about matchups. Trying to get Jericho Cotchery matched up on the linebacker, Seal Moore.
Cotchery, member of the Steelers since 2011, longtime Jet. Won a 4th-round pick in 2004. 1st and 10. Roethlisberger sacked. Never had a chance. C.O. Moore, the rookie from Connecticut, leading the Raiders charge.
And this is where they're so much better at the linebacker position. You're just going to see C.O. Moore. He comes off the edge as well with Nick Roach. Combination bringing both linebackers, and they're one short. Ben Roethlisberger has nowhere to go with the football.
2nd sack for C.O. Moore. They dumped him for 7. And it will be 2nd and 17. Five wide receivers for the Steelers. Roethlisberger, bullet pass, finding Brown inside the 35. And brought down well short of the first down marker, a pickup of a dozen.
Well, it seems like when Ben Roethlisberger needs to find a completion, he's going to look in the direction of Antonio Brown. Been terrific so far for the Steelers this season. He's got more catches through the first 6 games of the season than any Steeler player since 1960.
An electrifying start for the Oakland Raiders. Terrelle Pryor, longest run ever by a quarterback in NFL history. 93-yard touchdown sprint on the first play from scrimmage. End of the first quarter, 14-0 Oakland. Will return to Oakland after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Back in Oakland, a Troy Polamalu interception. And now short field for Ben Roethlisberger. Hard to believe, Rich, that this Steelers offense with no points off turnovers over the first 6 weeks.
Well, a big reason why is their defense is dead last in the NFL with just 2 takeaways.
Haven't given them many chances. Hard to believe this Dick LeBeau-led defense has been so inept at taking away the football. 3rd and 6 from the 33. Over the middle, finds Sanders inside the 30. He is very close. Needed to get to about the 32. And he is short. Favorable spot for the Raiders defense. Rich, what do you do here?
Well, I think you kick the field goal. I think they're really short. I think it's by at least 2 yards. So getting more frustration from Ben Roethlisberger and this Pittsburgh offense. You get great field position with the Troy Polamalu turnover. They've got to settle for a field goal. They've not been great down in this part of the field.
So here is Sean Sweezum, 47 yards at the game winner to beat the Ravens last Sunday. This one on target, plenty of leg, and Sweezum bangs it in from 47 yards out. And finally, the Steelers with points off a turnover. That long drought finally is over. Oh, when it comes to rivalries, it's a whole other level. Saturday, the Home Depot SEC on CBS has you when Aaron Murray and the Georgia Bulldogs take on Tyler Murphy and the Florida Gators in Jacksonville. The hoopla begins with college football today. Both teams coming off a bye week.
Both find themselves in kind of an unfamiliar position, trailing both Missouri and South Carolina in the SEC East. That's not something we typically see with Georgia and Florida.
There's Jarvis Jones, rookie linebacker for the Steelers. Former Georgia Bulldog, did not play last week with a concussion. We'll know about, be tuned in for that one next weekend on CBS. Spiro Ditas, Rich Gannon, our entire CBS crew from Oakland. O.co Coliseum. Rich, we expected kind of a physical game. It always is between these two teams, but the Raiders, that long touchdown run by Terrelle Pryor, and you still get the feeling that the Steelers are a little bit stunned.
I think they're reeling a little bit. Remember now, the Raiders, coming off the bye, so they've had extra time to prepare and to heal up. And of course, it's a long trip. The Steelers came in yesterday. It's a long flight from the East Coast, and they just seem like they're still half asleep here in the first half.
They've logged a lot of miles this season. Played at London a couple of weeks back. As this one bobbled in the end zone by Taiwan Jones, and he is buried by a host of Steelers inside the 10. Terrence Garvin, one of these Steelers backup linebackers, getting there first for Pittsburgh. Well, good start for Pryor before that last interception, as the Steelers defense, Rich, tries to dig in.
Well, the big number that concerns you is the 130 yards. I guess, again, a lot of them coming from Pryor in the big run. But they've got to find a way to stop number 2. I mean, he's been very disruptive, and he can do it so many different ways. Off the zone option read or simply just dropping back and deciding to pull it down and run.
First and 10, Pryor out of the backfield. It's Jerron Mastrew, the tight end, fourth-year man out of Kansas State, close to an Oakland first down. Tonight on 60 Minutes, the attack in Benghazi. What really happened? Lara Logan with a year-long investigation on 60 Minutes tonight, only CBS. Well, there's Mike Tomlin. Had a chance to sit down with him yesterday. Told us about the long, 5-year-long relationship he's had with Terrelle Pryor. As the Raiders keep it on the ground here, this is Marcel Reese across the 20. When he first got the job in Pittsburgh, his family stayed back in Minnesota, so he would kind of finish work, didn't really have much to do. One of his interns said, hey, let's go watch some high school basketball one day. And Tomlin went to the gym in nearby Aliquippa, and that's when he first saw Terrelle Pryor, a star high school basketball player for the Jeanette High School Jayhawks, about 30 miles outside Pittsburgh. They struck up a friendship, and he has said it has been so satisfying to see the young man develop over these last 5 years. First and 10, Pryor airing it out deep down the sideline. It's incomplete. Trying to find Andre Holmes, the second-year wideout out of Hillsdale College in Michigan.
Well, they're gonna get a hit on him here. I mean, he's got his eyes down the field, and again, the right tackle is struggling. But give Pryor some time in the pocket. He throws the deep ball really well.
Rich, you alluded to it earlier. Pryor has shown he can run. He's got raw athletic ability, but can this young man take that next step, improve those mechanics, and be a long-time pocket-style quarterback? That you just have to be to have the long-term success at the NFL level, and that's what they're trying to figure out here in Oakland.
Yeah, and I think he's got a different style. He's got different strengths like all quarterbacks, but I mean, I think so much of the pro passing game is anticipation and timing, and that takes some time with a young quarterback. And you can just see right now, Spiro, sometimes when you watch him, it's moving a little fast for him. And he's, I think they've tried to give him some half-field reads, and that's an area where he has to get better. Just trusting the protection and allowing some of these routes to develop down the field.
This is 3rd and 6. Polamalu coming on the blitz. Pryor sidesteps him and finds his man. It's Rod Streeter. What a play by Pryor. 6 yards. And an Oakland first down.
Well, you get the free rusher right off the edge. I mean, and he's not even picked up. And Terrelle Pryor doesn't even flinch. He's just going to make a simple move and buy some time and make a nice, accurate throw down the field.
Oh, you can't teach that. That is raw athletic ability. Incredible instincts by Pryor. 1st and 10 outside the 30. This is McFadden to the original line of scrimmage. Pryor spent the bye week working out with throwing instructor Tom House, who has worked with some of the great quarterbacks, Tom Brady. They met at a local area field here in Oakland and just worked, Rich, on mechanics, drilling day after day.
And that is very unusual to happen during the season. Think about that. I mean, the Raider coaching staff allowed it to happen. He went and worked out with Tom, a guy that he feels comfortable with. It's an area where he is continuing to develop his mechanics and his stroke, but shows you how much he wants to get better.
Pryor 2nd and 11, doesn't see the rush coming from the back. And Rich, that's what you want. Nowhere to throw downfield, doesn't force it, and doesn't take the hit. Jason Worlds applying the pressure.
Well, we talked about how good of a runner is. He's also very smart. You know, I think he's a guy that understands what he's got to do. We talked about how tough it is for him to get him on the ground, but he does a nice job protecting not only himself but the ball when he decides to pull it down and take off.
Pryor missed a game late September in Washington with a concussion. Struggled a couple of weeks ago in Kansas City, a game in which he was sacked 9 times. This is 3rd and 8. Polamalu coming again, and he got his hands on it, incomplete. Pryor got him last time, but Polamalu answers, and the Raiders forced the punt.
Well, the back has to be more aggressive in protection. He's going to cross key, but he's got to be able to deliver the blow, not wait. It allows Troy Polamalu to close the gap a little bit and get his hand on the ball. Rashad Jennings, as he comes across the protection, he has to go deliver the blow.
What else can you say about Troy Polamalu? Dick LeBeau told us yesterday, and LeBeau, legendary in the business, will go down as one of the great defensive coaches ever. He said that Polamalu is the best he has ever seen at processing what opposing offenses are doing. Says he's never coached anyone like him in that regard. 40-yard punt by Marquette King. Steelers down 14-3. 2-4 Steelers, 2 straight wins. Victories over the Jets and Ravens, but they are up against it here in Oakland as they line up in the Wildcat. Roethlisberger at the top of your picture. Le'Veon Bell trying to find the edge, brought down inside the 30 after a pickup of 3 yards. Rich, what about 3 big questions for Tomlin Steelers here in Week 8?
Well, I believe that the Pittsburgh Steelers finally have found the big back that they've been looking for. Le'Veon Bell, good quickness to the hole, very decisive. I think he's a lot better than you think in the passing game. And with all the injuries they've had up front, it's taken this offensive line some time to develop some continuity and consistency. Much better the last 2 weeks. And finally, you look at just 2 takeaways through the first 6 games. You get the sense that the turnovers are starting to come for this defense.
Roethlisberger this time at the bottom of the screen. 2nd and 7. Bell making the first guy miss. So, Rich, we see it back-to-back plays. We saw it a number of times last week in that win over the Ravens. Kevin Burnett, the linebacker, on the tackle.
Yeah, and one of the things that Ben Roethlisberger talked about last night, he's a little concerned with too much of it. It feels like it takes him out of his rhythm a little bit. And he doesn't want to take the ball out of his hands. The other thing he talked about is that these backs, a guy like Le'Veon Bell, not used to handling that snap. And they fumbled one in practice this week.
I said a quarterback can handle a bad snap at your knees, at your feet. Tougher for a running back. Third and 5. And whistles blow that play dead. John Parry, our referee.
False start. Offense. Number 88. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
First penalty. And Mike Tomlin looking on. It'll be 3rd and 10. They'll spot it at the 25. Steelers 0 for 4 on 3rd down. Roethlisberger's gonna run it. Flings it at the last instant. Penalty marker comes flying. It looked like Roethlisberger was well beyond the line of scrimmage as he tried to find a tight end, Miller, on the sideline.
Well, he's just over the line of scrimmage. Go ahead and run it. They bring Charles Woodson off the edge. He's got to get 25-yard line is where the line of scrimmage is. You just watch where he...
There's 2 fouls on the play.
Clearly he's over.
Both by the offense.
Here, let's go with the football.
Holding. Number 26. Penalties decline. Illegal forward pass. Pass beyond the line of scrimmage. Offense. Number 7. 5-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Includes loss of down. 4th down.
Rich, we haven't talked enough about this Raiders defense, all the different starters. 10 new starters from a year ago, and behind Jason Tarver, they have Ben Roethlisberger looking awfully confused in his first half.
Well, clearly the Raiders are playing better defensively. I mean, we saw them in their last game when they held Kansas City to just 216 yards of offense. Despite 4 turnovers by their offense. They really played well in some difficult situations.
We saw Tarver wearing that visor on the Raiders sideline. Vasco's punt. Excellent kick. Ford may have touched it. That's a live football. A pylon at the 22-yard line, and who has it? Antoine Blake appeared as though he had recovered the football. 51-yard punt by Mesco.
Oh, what a big mistake. What a huge mistake by Jacoby Ford. I think it hits him when the ball's on the ground.
Still no signal.
Marco Thomas comes up with it. The officials are still trying to sort this one out.
We have not seen an official signal, but it will be Steelers football. 2nd turnover by the Raiders, and a terrible mistake by Jacoby Ford. Timeout.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Surface, the one device for everything in your life. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Ford. Only Ford gives you EcoBoost fuel economy and a whole lot more.
We're back in Oakland. During the timeout, the call on the field has changed. They say it was illegally touched by Steelers special teamer Antoine Blake, and so Raiders will have the football, but Mike Tomlin is challenged.
The previous play. The challenge is the first touching.
So did Antoine Blake touch the football before it hit Jacoby Ford? If it did, then it's Raiders football. And that is the call on the field, illegal touch on Blake.
Well, watch the right hand of Blake, whether or not it touches him right as he swings at it. We know for sure it touches the left foot of Jacoby Ford.
Last play still under review. The call on the field is illegal touch on the Steelers' Antoine Blake before it hit Jacoby Ford. Keep an eye on the right hand of Blake, right there.
Yeah, it is so hard to tell, though, Spear. You and I have looked at it from a couple different angles, a couple different times, and it's really tough to tell whether or not he actually gets a finger on that, and whether or not the ball actually moves at all.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands as called. Pittsburgh charged with their first team timeout.
Well, you have to challenge if you're Mike Tomlin, and that is as close as it gets. Huge break for the Raiders.
Oh, you ain't kidding. That is a huge break as you look at Jacoby Ford there. Just a poor decision trying to field that ball.
So the Steelers charged a timeout, and Terrelle Pryor back onto the field.
This guy goes down around the line of scrimmage a lot. They're not even blocking.
Malu pursuing from the back. As McFadden getting to the original line of scrimmage. Coming up, the Verizon halftime report from New York. JB, Dan Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cowher for all the latest stories and highlights. Week 8. It's all coming up on the Verizon halftime report.
Every time you break the huddle, if you're Terrelle Pryor, you have to locate Troy Polamalu. You just see where he wants to be down where the action is, down around the line of scrimmage. You play at all 3 levels of your defense.
Pryor able to sell that play action, finds a leaping Streeter for the first down. Forced out right around the 40-yard line, a pickup of a dozen.
Well, plays that look the same that are different, and this is what they do. They want to run the zone action read, and you think he's going to pull it down and run. What does he do, though? He pulls up, and they try and throw the football. And we know how well he throws the ball on the move. Good design by the Raiders. You want to sell the run action and have some play action off of that. Greg Olsen has done a really nice job. Really, I think, finding some concepts that Terrelle Pryor is really comfortable with.
1st and 10. That play whistled dead before it started. Our referee, John Parry.
Timeout, Oakland.
Pryor saw something he didn't like as Oakland burns its first timeout. 14-3 on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by T. Rowe Price, understanding the connections of a complex global economy. Invest with confidence.
Well, fans of the silver and black want this one badly against their longtime rivals from Pittsburgh. Right now, 14-3 with Pryor and Oakland in front. Inside of 7 minutes to play before halftime. Draw play, handoff to McFadden. First down inside Steelers territory, all the way down to the 40 after a sprint of 20 yards.
Well, you get so consumed with Terrelle Pryor that you take your eye off of the running back, Darren McFadden. Really nice job by the fullback, Marcel Reese, getting out in front. And when this guy gets to the edge, he has got elite speed. He is a build-to-speed type back.
McFadden already approaching 50 yards. Here he is. Actually, it's Jennings giving McFadden a rest. And everyone, talks about the shortcomings of McFadden, a guy who is so athletically gifted. But, and Rich, this is something you talked about yesterday. He is made for more of an I formation set, and with such a quarterback run-heavy offense, they haven't really given him many chances in that formation.
No, and I think that's his skill set, I think, is more suited for the eye. With the fullback in front of him and running downhill, the power and the tosses, those type of things that he did so well at Arkansas.
Jennings lines up at the top of the picture. This is Reese, a battering ram out of the backfield, getting to the 30, and a run of 6. And that enough for another Raiders first down. Pryor so far, as it sits today, most rushing yards so far in week 8, 93 of them coming on that first play of the game.
Yeah, he's averaging almost 7 yards a carry coming into today's game, so we know he's a huge factor in the running game, and it's amazing what he can do when he gets outside the pocket.
Pryor third among quarterbacks in rushing yards entering play today. Pryor sells the fake well, throwing on the run, has his man. It's Streeter inside the 20, 16 more, and another first down.
And we're seeing a couple of these now. Really nice job by Streeter, just running the deep comeback. Good job selling it with his head, looking back inside, knowing that he's going to run the out-breaking route. Really nice throw there by Terrelle Pryor.
Well, Streeter, a year ago, coming out of nowhere, undrafted out of Temple. Bit of a quiet start to this season. After what we saw from him a year ago. Michael Rivera back up tight end in motion. This is 1st and 10. McFadden trying to bang his way past the line of scrimmage. Inches towards
number 20, Darren McFadden up the middle to the 11.
Can the Steelers defense hold here? Rich, and get that Raiders offense off the field here as we come up on 4 minutes remaining. You see 76-year-old Dick LeBeau on the sideline. There's Brett Kiesel. McFadden lines up at the bottom of your picture. 8th play of the drive that started from the 28. Pryor trying to make something out of nothing. Out of the phrase inside the 10, right at the marker. It is backyard football with Terrelle Pryor. William Gay forced him out.
And this is probably where he's most dangerous. I think running just from the passing formations. I mean, you've got to be very disciplined with your rush lanes. You see Pittsburgh Steelers defensive players running all over the place trying to find number 2.
Didn't get the first. This is 3rd and short. McFadden has it.
Darren McFadden.
Inside the 5. Appeared as though he had it. No signal yet. Needed to get to the 4. Steelers are saying no. And now they say 1st down.
I really felt like this Oakland offensive line would have their hands full today, Spiro, and the injuries have taken their toll with this group, and nobody really cares about that. They've been in survival mode the last few weeks, but thought it was the key today for this group to play better up front, and they've done that. A nice job protecting Pryor, and more importantly, opening up some big holes in the running game.
This is a drive that started at the Oakland 28. They have chewed up more than 5 minutes off the clock. And we will get a timeout. This one taken by Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. Still have the 2-minute warning, and you see Tomlin telling his defense to dig in right here.
Yeah, they need to stop right here. I mean, they're in danger of allowing this game to get out of control. To find a way to hold the Raiders to a field goal in this part of the field.
You see the quarterback numbers in the comparison. We've seen a lot more Pryor than we've seen of Roethlisberger, and this, kind of what it's been like for Pryor. We've seen some of the good, some of the bad. Long run to start the game. Rich, what have you seen so far from Pryor?
Well, like you said, Spiro, I mean, he's got to be able to eliminate the 2 or 3 poor decisions that seem to creep into his game. I mean, he's so exciting. He's really the spark plug. He's their best player on either side of the football. I mean, I think clearly you watch what he's able to do. And they have really struggled at the quarterback position over the last 6-7 years. And they're hoping that they finally found the answer in Terrelle Pryor. There's no question he's got the athleticism and the special playmaking ability. He needs to just continue to develop as a thrower.
1st and goal inside the 5. McFadden. Minimal gain. Tackle made by Kiesel. One-time Pro Bowler after McFadden gets a yard as we approach the 2-minute warning. Raiders have a couple of timeouts.
And they'll just be content to run this thing down and go over the sideline and talk about it.
Talked about Cincinnati winning up 14-0 on the Jets. Desperately trying to get back into this game and stay alive in the AFC North. 2-minute warning in Oakland. Raiders in front 14-3 on CBS. Back in Oakland, Terrelle Pryor lines up at the bottom. At top of your picture, 2nd and goal. McFadden faking into the end zone. And the Raiders build on their lead. McFadden with his 2nd touchdown of the afternoon.
Well, we actually saw him run this in practice. They're going to try and bring the tight end across. He's going to try and throw it here, but when it's not there, he does the next best thing. He pulls it down and runs. And we know that McFadden can throw the ball out of the Wildcat. We saw it in week 3 against the Denver Broncos.
First multi-rush touchdown game for McFadden since September 25th of 2011. His fourth touchdown run of the season. Largest lead that the Raiders have had all season.
Yeah, we've seen him throw this in week 3 in this part of the field as well to Marcel Reese's fullback for a touchdown against the Broncos. And so you always have to be aware with McFadden and the Wildcat, not just running, but throwing the ball as well. Pretty good passer.
Rich, how surprised are you with this first half?
You know, really stunned. I mean, you look at how the game started, and you talked about a team that's fresh off the bye, that's well rested, that's had extra time to prepare for Pittsburgh. And Ben Roethlisberger and this Pittsburgh offense, they can't get going. Just 52 yards of offense here in the first half and just 8 rushing yards. The rushing disparity is incredible in this game. The Raiders have rushed for 183 yards, while Pittsburgh has just 8 yards on the ground.
Well, these two teams met here last season, one that went right down to the final play. A Sebastian Janikowski field goal won it. Steelers blowing a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. And they are going to have to come back from 18 down here if they're going to answer here this afternoon. Under 2 minutes to play in the first half. Janikowski boots it to the back of the end zone. Felix Jones muffs it, and the Steelers will have it from the 20. I'll get inside the mind of a quarterback. Join Phil Simms, our Rich Gannon, Steve Berline, and Adam Schein on NFL Monday QB. Tomorrow, 6:30 Eastern on CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Quarterback comparison so far. Again, that 93-yard touchdown run by Pryor got the party started. And it has been all Raiders ever since.
Well, Pittsburgh needs to get something going here, a positive drive before the half. Plenty of time with a minute and 55 and a timeout left for the Steelers.
Felix Jones into the game, having called his number today. And he will not get to the line of scrimmage. Tackled short of the 20. Another reminder coming up, the Verizon halftime report will send you to New York. JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cower standing by on the Verizon halftime report coming up next.
Well, look how deep the safeties are for the Raiders. You can't even see them on your screen.
Roethlisberger from the gun, set for the second time. Lamar Houston with his 4th sack of the season.
And he's just working up the top of your screen. He's working on Pittsburgh Steelers right tackle, or left tackle. You see him right there. He's going to beat him around the edge. And clearly Lamar Houston is their best pass rusher coming into today's game with 3 sacks.
Raiders have taken a timeout, hoping that they'll get it back. There's Jason Tarver. His defense with their ears pinned back here. And still a lot of time potentially for Pryor and the Raiders offense.
Well, I think if you're the Oakland Raiders defensively, you got to be thinking screen or draw in this situation. 3rd and a bunch.
Third and 20. Excellent catch. It's Antonio Brown over the middle penalty marker at around the 21-yard line. And this one against the Steelers.
Pass interference. Offense. Number 88. Half the distance. Replay. 3rd down.
We're going to get Emmanuel Sanders for what amounts to a pick, I think, coming across the formation.
Terrelle Pryor getting ready, talking to his offensive coordinator, Greg Olson. Here's the penalty.
You see linemen downfield, you see receivers down the field blocking him.
Saw it very quickly on the right of your picture. Sanders kind of setting a pick. This is Mesko on the punt from inside the 5. Raiders with 1 timeout left. This is Mesko's 5th punt. Very short kick. Inside Steelers territory. So, Rich, a timeout left. What about strategy here for the Raiders? What are they trying to do on these first couple of plays?
Well, I think you're playing with the house's money. You're up 21-3. You got to be smart. Can't take a sack, or you certainly don't want to turn over here. But you've got opportunities to push the ball down the field. Plenty of ways to stop the clock. And worst case scenario, I think Terrelle Pryor in this Oakland offense thinking about a field goal. But they have some opportunities here to take a shot at the end zone as they get closer.
Only a 30-yard punt by Mesko. And the Raiders are only 5 yards away from the target line of Sebastian Janikowski. 1st and 10, Pryor. Over the middle, it's intercepted. In and out of the hands of the intended receiver, Bryce Butler, and it's picked off by Cortez Allen.
Well, the one thing you couldn't do, and there's plenty of blame to go around on this one. We look at the receiver not making the catch, Bryce Butler, but a better throw here by Pryor. He throws it on the back shoulder. That's actually a pretty good throw. It hits him in the 9 and the number. You've got to be able to make this catch. You're going to see right there. That one goes right through his hands. That was just too easy for Cortez Allen. And you see the frustration for Rashad Jennings. Butler's got to be able to make the catch.
Butler, the rookie out of San Diego State. Raiders took him with the 7th round pick last spring. Steelers 1 timeout, 1st and 10. Roethlisberger's going to take a chance. It's caught. What a catch under duress. Woodson was there, but somehow Brown maintaining concentration and picks up 21.
Well, when they need a big play, this is where they look downfield. Really nice throw here, using the boundary by Ben Roethlisberger, giving his leading receiver Antonio Brown a chance to make a play. Charles Woodson just a hair late getting there.
Still plenty of time, 54 seconds, and still a timeout for Todd Haley and the Steelers. Roethlisberger from the gun on 1st and 10. Looking right, throws left, and out of bounds. That Oakland secondary blanketing the receivers, and now some extracurricular stuff, and this is an intense scrum. Officials quickly trying to step between them. Rich, you commit a penalty here if you're on that Steelers side.
Well, you got to be smart. I mean, as you mentioned, you see Fernando Velasco trying to go in there, and someone took a shot at Ben Roethlisberger. I think that's why the Steelers offensive linemen, they rallied around their quarterback. As the officials try and sort this one out. Right here, he's going to get pulled down. That wasn't really much. As you watch that, it looked like Daniel Muir, and then of course the offensive linemen come right to his defense to protect their quarterback.
Velasco, the 4th-year center, stepping in for the injured Marquise Pouncey. The 3-time Pro Bowler, of course, was lost for the season early in the year. So no penalty on the play. This is 2nd and 10. Roethlisberger, little screen pass out of the backfield. It's Jones inside the 30, down to the 25, so well within field goal range at this point. Jones. Still a timeout, 11 yards, and a 1st down.
And they're going to try and clock it. They lined up to become a much better screen team here the last couple weeks. They've really been working on this in practice, and they feel they've got a couple backs that can really excel at it. Le'Veon Bell and Felix Jones, both very patient guys that run with good vision, and an offensive line that can get out in front and run.
Saw Sweezum on the sideline, a game winner against the Ravens last Sunday in Pittsburgh. 8th career game winner for Sweezum.
Now look for the Steelers to take a shot here at the end zone with 30 seconds left.
Still 1 timeout left. This is 2nd and 10 from the 25. Roethlisberger fakes the screen. Again, it's Jones dancing inside the 20. Brought down just short of the 15-yard line. 9-yard pickup clock. continues to run.
I think Ben's going to take a shot here. Oop. Now they take the timeout. And I think it's the smart play to take the timeout. You waste so much time getting everybody lined back up and trying to get a play call. There's other ways to stop the clock.
Rich, what part of the field here do you want to throw it?
Well, I think you got
Roethlisberger, no timeouts.
Yeah, you got to be smart. I think you got to take a shot at the end zone, and if it's not there, I mean, just settle for the field goal. But again, we talk about understanding situational football. You don't want to take a sack in this situation. You remember now, you've got no timeouts. You've got 17 seconds. If you get a sack, you may have a very difficult time running the field goal team on the field. So you've got to be able to trust your quarterback, and I'm not surprised to see Derek Moy come in. He's a different receiver. You know, he's much bigger, and he's got a bigger body type than any other receivers that they have on their football team.
Squeeze him looking on from the sideline. 3rd and 1. Steelers out of timeouts. Roethlisberger off the hands of Jones and nearly picked by Jenkins.
Well, that was dangerous, and that was a bit of a surprise. I mean, again, if he gets tackled on the field, they have a difficult time stopping the clock. This one comes out a little bit hot, and that was hard to handle.
So Todd Haley entrusting Roethlisberger in that situation, and it nearly backfired. Here is Squeeze him. Hit from 47 yards earlier to try to salvage 3 points for the Steelers. Squeeze him from 34, and he shanked it. And that the kind of first half it's been for the Steelers.
Oh, he does just shank it. I mean, that's a surprise. Sweesham's been kicking so well. And Dennis Allen can't believe it. They are fired up. They have played a really good first half of football here in Oakland. Sweesham is coming off of a week, Spiro, where he was the AFC Special Teams Player of the Week.
That's how quickly things turn in the NFL. From hero to GOAT in 7 days. Nightmare first half for the Steelers as Terrelle Pryor, that 93-yard run, setting the tone early. 21-3 your score. The Verizon halftime report comes your way next. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Storied AFC rivalry that dates back to the 1970s. So far, one-sided here in Oakland, 21-3. Raiders in front. Spiro Ditas alongside Rich Gannon. We thought maybe the Steelers were out of the woods. A couple of wins in a row coming in, but nothing going offensively in that first half. What has to change, Rich, in the second half?
Spiro, really an ugly first half of football for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Just 8 yards rushing. They haven't converted a 3rd down yet. 0 for 7. I think this opening possession in the second half, absolutely critical for Pittsburgh that they come away with some points.
All right, we'll take a look now at what's to come in the second half this season. Pepsi invites NFL fans to show love for their team by asking, are you fan enough? Pepsi, the official soft drink of the NFL. First half stats. Look at the rushing yards, Rich, for the Raiders. 2nd most yards on the ground in a half since 1991.
Yeah, it's amazing. You look at the domination, and again, it speaks volumes about Terrelle Pryor's ability to run the football. It even got Darren McFadden going. He's at 56 yards rushing in the first half, and of course, they've been good on 3rd down. And so Pittsburgh, as we mentioned, Spiro, 0 for 7 on 3rd down in the first half. And they've got to find a way to make some conversions in that situation.
Janikowski boots it away to start the second half. Both of these teams at 2-4. Raiders trying to win off a bye week for the first time in 10 years. As we take a look at the first half quarterback comparison, Pryor, that last interception, Rich, as you said, wasn't quite his fault. Butler just kind of couldn't catch it.
Yeah, one that was and one that wasn't. And again, you look at Pryor, and he's been dangerous. And the Steelers have to make some adjustments with their defensive package to do a better job getting after Terrelle Pryor. He's had way too much time back there to run around and make plays.
This is Steelers team that finished last season 8-8, their first non-winning season under Mike Tomlin. Missed the playoffs. Desperately needing a win to stay in the hunt. Le'Veon Bell makes the first guy miss. Excellent play as Brandon Ross appeared to have him down for a loss, but Bell escaped.
And Ross came flying in there. And again, when they get the running game going, then big plays seem to come off of that with the play action. And that's what Ben has been talking about here the first 6 weeks of the season. So we've got to be able to develop some consistency up front with our offensive line. We've got to get this young back going. And then when we do that, then there's some opportunity for some big plays. But because they haven't run the ball well, it's made the play action game not as effective.
Steelers only 5 first downs in the first half. Bell the long setback. This is 2nd and 8. Roethlisberger trying to throw, going down again. Sack number 3 for the Raiders. And it's C.O. Moore bringing the heat.
Well, they've been talking all week out here in the Bay Area about how do you get Ben Roethlisberger on the ground. Well, one of the things you do is you stay after it. And that's just what we saw there from C.O. Moore. He swings and misses the first time, but they said you really have to lower your aiming point. We talked with Jason Tarver, the defensive coordinator. He said, Ben Roethlisberger, the aiming point is just to the right of that number 7 on his chest.
Roethlisberger, 3rd and 17, slings it to the 30. It's caught. Emmanuel Sanders, and that is right at the first down marker.
Well, that was great execution by the Steelers and a terrific throw from Ben Roethlisberger. He throws this one on a rope to Emmanuel Sanders.
18 yards and a huge first down pickup for the Steelers.
Look at this thing come out, and he throws it. It's a great low and away from the corner, waiting outside Mike Jenkins.
Sanders has been quiet so far today. 25 catches on the season. This is 1st and 10. Little trickery. Jonathan Dwyer on his first attempt. Dwyer, the 4th-year man out of Georgia Tech, formerly the starter.
Well, he came into today's game just 27th in rushing with just 74 yards a game on the ground. And that ain't going to get it done. You got to find a way to be more productive on the early downs. And you look at Todd Hill, you're looking at that play sheet.
Dwyer basically has been a 3rd down back, released before the opener and then re-signed after the release of Isaac Redmond. Dwyer trying to get to the edge. Able to cross the 40. Excellent run by Dwyer, and another Steelers first down. They pick up 8.
That was an excellent run by Jonathan Dwyer, just keeping his balance. I mean, a couple people take a swing at him and run a little stretch play and makes the defender miss there. Charles Woodson goes in low, and really a nice effort there by Jonathan Dwyer.
It's been a running game that was just so dormant over the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season, finally showing life in the win last Sunday against the Ravens. Patry in motion, 1st and 10. And that time the Raiders front holding. Rich, the first 5 weeks of the season, no Steeler had accumulated 100 total yards before Bell did it last week. And Guy Wimper is the injured Steeler lineman, and he had to start the second half after Ramon Foster, the starting guard, the 50-year veteran, lost in the first half to a concussion. So a thin Steelers front getting thinner. Well, Guy Wimper had to start the second half for the injured Ramon Foster, who left with a concussion.
Yeah, he's right here. His right leg, I saw that initially. That snaps out, but look at this, his left knee that goes back and seems to give out on him. It's kind of an unusual play.
It's a lot of weight coming down on that left leg, 315 pounds. And so a thin offensive line now forced to scramble again in front of Roethlisberger. This is 2nd and 12. Roethlisberger from the gun, pump faking with a sidearm slingshot to Brown. Short of the 50. Brown has been the only thing working for him. And now late marker, did they get the face mask? Brown picks up 8. Our referee is John Parry.
Personal foul, face mask, defense. Number 21, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
And you see he's just going to reach in there with that right hand and grab a hold of Antonio Brown's face mask and yank on it.
Mike Adams, who lined up a bunch last Sunday as an extra tackle, eligible receiver, will line up here, 76 for the Steelers. And now Le'Veon Bell, the lone setback, 1st and 10 as Cotchery goes in motion. Here's Bell, has some room, getting to the 30, and taking on a bunch of Raiders defenders on his back. 9 tough yards as Jenkins finally brought him down.
Well, they ran the ball a lot better last week, especially up inside. You just see good get off and a lot of double teams. They brought in Mike Adams there to play the extra offensive lineman on the right side, and it's been a formation that they've really liked and utilized the last couple of weeks. When they bring in Mike Adams, it's not 100% run. They'll mix in some pass and play action out of that formation as well.
Steelers run game gave them nothing in the first half. Starting to show some signs. Brown in motion, 2nd and short. Brown on an end-around play. Cuts back middle. Raiders weren't fooled. Excellent pursuit tackle made by Brandon Ross, the 2nd-year safety.
Well, Antonio Brown, he's so good after the catch, and now they do the end around and the reverses with him. He's excellent speed and quickness, and you can clearly tell that Ben Roethlisberger has a rapport with Antonio Brown. He just has a sense of knowing where he's going to be and how he's going to react versus certain coverages.
First down run by Brown. Entered the day 13th in the league in receiving yards. 10th play of the drive for the Steelers. It'll be 1st and 10.
They're having a difficult time getting lined up.
Roethlisberger, play action. He loses the second. It's incomplete. And a marker comes in on Jenkins.
That'll be another foul on Mike Jenkins.
What a back-breaking penalty this will be. Tarver is hot. The 39-year-old defensive coordinator for the Raiders. As the officials talk about it.
They call a personal foul on Mike Jenkins. He come flying in there and looked like he may have hit Le'Veon Bell.
Personal foul, defense, number 21, contact to the helmet on a defenseless player. 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Well, off the play action, Le'Veon Bell is going to sneak out to the left and then steps up and throws one here. And I don't know about all that. All Mike Jenkins was trying to do, Spiro, is go for the ball. He's reacting to the tip, and he just inadvertently runs into Le'Veon Bell.
Well, they said it was helmet to helmet and that Bell was a defenseless receiver, and now they may have picked up the flag. So it looks as though they have picked up the flag.
Number 76.
Well, no official announcement by Parry, but there is no penalty on the play. So 2nd and 10. A break for the Raiders. Here comes Brown in motion. Fake the end around. Here's Bell. Inside the 20, lowers the shoulder. Taking on Woodson at around the 18-yard line.
We've been running the screen to the right now a couple times. Le'Veon Bell is so slippery. Does a nice job acting as if he's going to block Jason Hunter, then he slips right out. And think about Le'Veon Bell as a downhill runner, but he's really good in the passing game as well. Natural hands and good patience as a route runner.
And Mike Tomlin said that they have not really had a running back who could own the screen game since Noeldi Moore here, but Bell is certainly that player. 3rd and short. Bell trying to get it and to get just inside the 16-yard line, and it is a Steelers first down.
Well, Le'Veon Bell is an impressive looking back. He's a guy that can lean on you. I think he's one of those throwbacks. You know, he's a type of back that seems to get stronger as the game goes along. And I think with more carries and more touches, you get more production from this guy.
Well, this is one of those game momentum changing drives. 13th play coming up. They've chewed up nearly 8 minutes. Delayed handoff, and the Raiders weren't fooled. Pat Sims getting there first for the silver and black.
Well, it looked like a draw, and it had no chance. See, Bennett keeps his eyes down the field, and Sims just does a terrific job beating Cody Wallace. Your 3rd guard now. You mentioned Ramon Foster out, Guy Wimper. Cody Wallace is now into the game for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he got beat there by Sims.
The Raiders defense tied for 13th in the league in points allowed. Trying to keep the Steelers from the end zone. 2nd and 15. Bell making a couple of guys miss. Lunges inside the 15-yard line after a pickup of 6. As Todd Haley, Rich, trying to find the right balance of plays here to get into the end zone.
Yeah, and they've really struggled in this part of the field. I mean, they've been poor in red zone production, just 31st in the NFL, in an area where they have not had a lot of production. And again, they've settled for too many field goals in this part of the field.
Rich, 4-down territory. 4-down territory for the Steelers.
Oh, absolutely. Can't settle for a field goal. You're down 21-3.
Roethlisberger under pressure. Off balance throw to the end zone, and he nearly had Brown, but it's incomplete.
Well, you didn't get anything there. Now you kick the field goal. I mean, you got half of it there. Certainly, I think Mike Tomlin would decide to go for it, but Raiders have done a nice job getting pressure up inside. You know, Ben Roethlisberger, that's where he wants to step up inside, and he's got nowhere to go with this thing. He just tries to throw this one in the back of the end zone.
Daniel Muir applying the pressure. You saw Roethlisberger's jersey ripping. John Sweezum, 1 of 1, hitting from 47. He's missed from 34. This one from 32. Hold is down, and he missed it again. A 16-play drive yielding nothing for the Steelers.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Quicken Loans, for a mortgage experience that's engineered to amaze. And by Acura. Discover more about the Acura RLX at acura.com/RLX.
A lot to think about for Sean Sweezum. Has missed from 34, and that last one from 32, Rich. They go 9 minutes and 11 seconds, longest drive of the season, and he misses a gimme.
Yeah, it's this part of the field. He misses from 34. Comes back in the second half within a couple yards and just misses again to the right. We saw him at halftime stay out. and work on kicks in that part of the field.
Now keep in mind, this is a multi-purpose stadium. It's the first Sunday that there has not been a dirt infield, so a lot of that middle portion of the field has been sodded for the first time. Polamalu nearly had Pryor for the sack. And that is right around where the edge of the infield usually is here in Oakland.
Well, we saw him at halftime. I mean, everybody went in except the kicker. And he came out and he worked on kicks from this part of the field, and even from that right hash. Spiro, you and I were down there before the game. The grass in that part of the field looks pretty good. Most of the infield was more towards midfield, particularly outside the numbers.
Pryor fakes it. Trying to go read option to the outside. Tripped up at around the 22-yard line. Nothing lonelier than those moments as a kicker after you miss a kick like that. In a game like this with a Steelers team, Rich, at 2-4 with very, very little margin for error.
Yeah, particularly after they took the ball and drove the length of the field. I mean, it just, and not to come away with points. We talked about how critical that first possession was going to be for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
There's Dennis Allen, the 41-year-old head coach, second year here in Oakland. 21-3 Raiders, 4:29 left in quarter number 3. 3rd and 9. Pryor's going to throw it to the sideline, incomplete. Intended for Denarius Moore. Excellent coverage by the 11th year vet Ike Taylor.
And he's trailing because he has help over the top. So this is a dangerous throw. This is really two-man. Ike Taylor in trail technique, knowing that he's got help from Ryan Clark, the safety over the top.
Taylor had his contract restructured this week by the Steelers front office. Making a big defensive play there to get the defense off the field. 3rd punt today for Marquette King, 2nd-year punter out of Fort Valley State. Antonio Brown from his own 31 trying to get to the outside. Cuts it back, takes on a hard hit inside the 40 at around the 38. 45-yard punt and a 6-yard return. You're watching the NFL on CBS. All smiles for Raiders fans here in Oakland. 21-3. Late stages, 3rd quarter. Roethlisberger and company back onto the field. This is 1st and 10. Little screen pass to Brown near side. And Brown forced out of bounds by the linebacker, Nick Roach. Tomorrow, a great night of comedy on CBS, beginning with new episodes of How I Met Your Mother and Two Broke Girls, followed by a special Big Bang Theory and a new mom. It all starts tomorrow, 8/7 Central, only CBS. Rich, how devastating is it for a Pittsburgh team to go 9 minutes plus on that last drive and come away empty?
That makes you sick to your stomach. And again, just not firing on all cylinders. And they've a number of times this season, Spiro, they've got down in that part of the field and stalled.
Minimal gain on 2nd down as we send you to New York in an update with James Brown.
Boomer, a lot more game left to play, but...
Well, here's something you don't see very often, and that's going to be an interception by Peyton Manning. It's going to be returned for a touchdown by D'Angelo Hall. Now, Washington has scored 2 touchdowns in the last 9 seconds, making Mike Shanahan's return to Denver a little sweeter.
At least early in the 3rd. Back to Spiro and Rich.
All right, guys, let's see what the Redskins did last week against Chicago. Roethlisberger's 3rd down pass deflected and incomplete. Nick Roach got a hand on it. Huge play for the Raiders defense.
Well, he's been a great addition coming over from the Bears. You just see him right in the middle of your screen to get his left arm up and knock that ball away. He's a guy that doesn't come off the field. He's an all-situational player. You see him in the base, they're nickel or dime in the red zone. They are so much better at the linebacker position across the board than they were a season ago.
Rich, is it more the defense what Tarver has drawn up, or does this just look like an offense right now that's out of sorts?
It's a combination of things, Spiro. They've not won on the early downs, and they've obviously been awful on 3rd down.
Excellent spiraling kick by Mesko, and it takes an incredible bounce at the end, and the officials say it was out of the end zone. That about as perfect a punt as you'll ever see. 56 yards. And Robert Golden getting there for the Steelers.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL. And by Acura. Meet the extremely new 2014 MDX at Acura.com/MDX.
Well, if there was ever a time for a Steelers defense that has not generated turnovers to get one, it's right here.
Yeah, dead last in the NFL with just 2 takeaways coming
Oakland
to today's game.
challenging the previous play of a potential touchback. Ball hitting the goal line. We'll review the play.
So that last punt under review. 21-3 Raiders in front on CBS. Last punt by Zoltan Mesko under review. Whether or not it was a touchback, the call on the field was it was not. Did the football break the plane? Rich, tough to see.
Yeah, really. We looked at it a number of times. I mean, honestly, it's like a blade of grass between the ball and the goal line. I think that's going to be difficult to overturn.
Officials need conclusive video evidence. I'm not sure they have it.
Boy, that was close, though. I mean, it's just...
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Oakland is charged with first. Timeout.
What a punt by Mesko, putting the perfect English on it.
And when your offense is struggling, I mean, this is what you need. A big play in the kicking game or a big play from your defense. Pryor's got to be smart. If I'm Greg Olson, the offensive coordinator, I'm telling him we're up 21-3. Let's make good decisions here. Let's not turn the football over. Let's get a first down. Let's get some breathing room.
Well, more bad news for the Steelers. David DeCastro has a right ankle injury. His return is questionable. Already lost Ramon Foster, their starting guard, earlier in the half with a concussion. 1st and 10. Pryor just trying to lunge forward for some positive yards. Picks up a yard as we see what the Raiders offense has done.
Well, Terrelle Pryor got the party started with this big run, a 93-yard run. The passing game not so good, just 50%, completing just 50%. No touchdowns and 2 interceptions. But the good thing about Terrelle Pryor, he's got a short memory. And he'll just continue to go out there and take shots. This guy with a lot of confidence at the quarterback position.
You see Pryor, I told you earlier, 3rd in the NFL among quarterbacks in rushing entering the day. Rivera in motion, 2nd and 9. McFadden, a couple of rushing touchdowns in the first half. And in this sequence, Oakland just trying to give their punter some room to work with here. It'll be 3rd and 8. Rich, I don't think you want to take too many chances here with Pryor, your quarterback.
Well, that gentleman right there, Greg Olson, when we talked to him on Friday, he said, I've got to be smart with the young quarterback. Sometimes I've got to take the decision-making and the ball out of his hands. And this may be one of those situations where maybe you run it again now and try and punt. You just don't want a turnover here. Look for Pryor to maybe run the ball here.
Pryor's thrown 2 interceptions, one of which was a deflection and fault to the receiver. Pryor over the middle, 1st down. Denarius Moore still going across the 20. Cameron Hayward coming back for the tackle, 18 yards and an enormous 1st down.
Well, a high percentage throw. They love this slant route. We saw one earlier in the first half with Denarius Moore on the right side, that one on the left side. This guy has some speed as well. Raiders have some receivers that can get up and go, and Moore is one of them.
Only the 2nd catch for Denarius Moore. But a big one there to make it 1st and 10. Under a minute to play, 3rd quarter. Looked like maybe a mistake on that play. Broken play. Pryor going backwards. Update as we send you to New York.
Cincy's Marvin Jones had 4 career touchdowns coming into today's game. This reception from Andy Dalton is his 4th in the game. That a franchise record. Cincy spanking the Jets 42-9. Well, you need to be alert every Sunday in the NFL. Back to Spiro and Rich.
All right, JB, thanks. And Rich, that puts the pressure right on this Steelers team, desperately trying to stay within striking distance in that AFC North. Darren McFadden wrapped up behind the original line of scrimmage. As we reach the end of the third quarter, 21-3, your score. Will return to Oakland after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Well, Steelers have had their chances, but an offense that has yet to find the end zone. As you see Ben Roethlisberger on the sideline, start of the fourth quarter, and the Raiders in front 21-3. And Rich, now this is part of the deal for a young quarterback. Can Pryor put a game like this away on his home field? Big 3rd and 13.
Yeah, and this is a situation where you got to be smart, 3rd and long against a Pittsburgh defense that likes the pressure sometimes in these situations. Don't compound the situation by making a mistake in this part of the field.
Steelers were showing blitz. Pryor throwing to Streeter. Knocked out of bounds at the 30. Looks to be a couple short of the first down marker. Got 11, but needed to get outside the 32, and they'll punt.
You know, I like the fact that when he does scramble, he's keeping his eyes down from the field, and he's been making some good throws. He just come up a little bit short there on 3rd down.
So Marquette King back onto the field. He'll kick from around his own 20. 4th punt this afternoon for King. Antonio Brown standing back deep at his own 25. Brown signals fair catch. Penalty marker thrown back around the line of scrimmage. It's a 44-yard punt. As it stands now, our referee today is John Parry.
Illegal kicking player downfield, number 55, 5-yard penalty will be tacked on from the end of the run. First down.
So 4th penalty against Oakland, and they'll tack off some yardage when we come back. Coming up, time permitting, after the game, the Subway post-game show. JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cower for all the latest NFL scores. It's all coming up on the Subway post-game show. 21-3, Steelers down early 4th. This is 1st and 10. Brown has been a workhorse receiver. Last 4 possessions, Rich, Steelers have moved the football, had that marathon 9-minute drive, but they missed a couple of field goals.
Yeah, really ugly. And the one that really hurt was that first one in the second half, where they come out to go 16 plays, 66 yards, chew up 9 minutes, 11 seconds, and he missed a field goal.
Roethlisberger, 2nd and 7. Deep down the sideline. It is intercepted. Mike Jenkins has it for the Raiders. Sanders trying to rip it back, but it will be Raiders football. Roethlisberger took his chance. Jenkins burns him.
Well, you're right. That's exactly what he did. Spiro takes a chance. I mean, he just throws this one up. Mike Jenkins isn't fooled at all. I mean, he is way out in front of this. In fact, he's out in front of the receiver. He runs the route for him. And does a nice job holding on to it, despite the efforts of Emmanuel Sanders.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by FedEx One Rate. Simple flat rate shipping with the reliability of FedEx. McDonald's, I'm loving it. And by Cadillac.
Sixth pick that Roethlisberger has thrown on the season, and the first one in 108 attempts. Mike Jenkins doing it for the Oakland defense. And Rich, now Pryor steps again to the forefront, trying to put this one away after the interception by Roethlisberger.
Yeah, I think with the way your defense is playing, as well as the Raiders are playing defensively, and the fact that Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers offense has struggled, I think you lean on the running game. I think you start pounding the football with these backs and with the quarterback who's been outstanding running the ball, already over 100 yards rushing today.
106 rushing yards for Pryor, nearly 60 for McFadden. Jacoby Ford buried after the catch. Football comes loose. No signal yet. It's Steelers football.
What do we just say? Run the football in this situation. They try a quick screen and do the one thing they can't do, turn it over in this part of the field and give the Pittsburgh Steelers some hope.
It has been a shaky day for Jacoby Ford. Narrowly avoided a fumble earlier on a punt return. And this time it's Kiesel who snatches it for the Steelers.
Well, when you catch that ball, you've got to be able to protect it. You've got linebackers who start flying out, trying to make a play. Great effort there by Brett Kiesel.
Lawrence Timmons, playing with a broken left hand, was right in the thick of that play for the Steelers. And now we are told the play is under review, as every play, of course, subject to automatic review. John Parry has spent a lot of time under the hood today here in Oakland.
I think they're going to look to see whether or not his knee was down, but when you catch you're a smaller receiver like Jacoby Ford is only 5'9", 190 pounds. When you catch this ball and you start working inside, that's where the big guys are. You've got to have two hands on it.
Lawrence Timmons, that monstrous performance in the win over the Ravens last Sunday. Career high 17 tackles, 12 unassisted. And this potentially breathing new life into the Steelers, but was Ford's knee down?
I think he was questioning whether he actually catches it. I think he has possession, and then he's struck and the ball comes out. You mentioned Timmons' effort last week. Spiro 17 tackles and did it with a broken hand for most of the second half. Not exactly sure when he did it in the second half. Didn't come off the field.
And what a big call this is. Steelers potentially will have it at the Oakland 11. All three timeouts, and still 13:06 remaining in the fourth.
Well,
Rich, as bad as they've been, you know, they've got Roethlisberger, a two-time champ, certainly the firepower to do it.
Well, the one thing they can't do is turn the football over, and you look at the angle there. Really, the ball's on the ground. It's a question of, do you have possession? It happened so quick in that pile.
Ford, the fourth-year player out of Clemson, missed all of last season after foot surgery. Here's John Parry.
After review, the ruling in the field has been confirmed. Catch, clear possession, 3 steps, football act, ball loose prior to being down by contact. First down.
So the third turnover committed by the Raiders today, and they leave the door open for the Steelers.
Well, you look what Pittsburgh has done in this part of the field so far today. I don't know that you can trust your field goal kicker. I'm Ben Roethlisberger. I want 4 shots at it from the 10-yard line.
Roethlisberger from the gun. Le'Veon Bell at the top of your screen on 1st and 10. End zone. It's caught. Miller has it. Touchdown. Second straight week for a score for the Pittsburgh tight end. 11 yards and the Steelers back in it.
And this is where he is so good. Just in that flex position, just going to work right around the linebacker.
A team that has generated virtually no offense off of turnovers this season. And now this play under review.
Well, as soon as he catches it, he's going to get hit from behind by Ross.
Have to maintain possession through contacts with the ground.
to tell from that angle. This is probably the best angle right here. Oh, that might have hit the ground. Well, it's hard to tell.
Can't remember a game with so many close plays and reviews. This is the best angle right here. You see Miller kind of trap it right there.
No, that thing hits the ground. It literally goes. It starts going down his chest. It looks like it hits the ground.
Call on the field is a touchdown, so they need video evidence to overturn conclusively. And a couple of agonizing moments here as the Steelers await the call.
I think this is the best angle right here. Clearly, he doesn't catch it cleanly. You're going to see the ball start sliding down. You look at his left forearm, you can tell it hits the ground. And then he just, the next best thing, tries to scoop it up. But I think clearly that ball hits the ground. It's a terrific play on the back end by the Raiders safety, Brandon Ross. He puts a lick on Heath Miller just as he's getting ready to grab that one.
Steelers have been as unlucky as they have been poor today.
Remember, that was
timely mistakes.
Yep, remember that was first down, so they got a couple more shots at it.
Once again, John Parry.
After reviewing the play, it's an incomplete pass. The receiver did not have clear control of the football prior to the ball hitting the ground. Incomplete pass, 2nd and 10, right hash, 11-yard line.
It slides down. The best indicator was that left arm, that left forearm. That's where he was squeezing it originally, and then all of a sudden it just disappeared.
Rich, a field goal do anything for you here? You're going end zone?
No, I'm not even thinking field goal in this situation. They have really struggled all day offensively. This is getting to be of critical nature now with 13 minutes to go in the 4th quarter.
Roethlisberger, little shuffle pass. Oakland able to snuff it out. Lamar Houston, a sack earlier, and getting Bell for a pickup of only 2.
Well, the Raiders remember that shuffle pass. They saw it last week. Go in the opposite direction with Heath Miller.
Pittsburgh offense ranking 28th in the league with under 18 points per game. 3rd and 8. Roethlisberger avoiding the sack, finding his man. It's Sanders. Masterful play by Roethlisberger.
Well, he is so good in the pocket. We talked with him last night about the basketball he played in high school. He said he was a point guard, slipping and bobbing and weaving and just buying some extra time. That's all Ben Roethlisberger right there. He's so strong in the pocket. He does such a great job fooling defenders, either with that pump fake or his ability to slip and slide and get skinny in the pocket.
Roethlisberger, growing up in Ohio City, played basketball, learned how to be shifty playing point guard. He was never the best athlete, but boy, did he learn the moves that have served him well in the NFL. The Steelers breathing life into their cause on CBS. 3 pivotal turnovers committed by the Oakland Raiders today. And you see what the Steelers have tried to do off of them, Rich, as they are right back into this game now, down 11.
Yeah, they got, obviously, defense came up with a big stop, a big turnover there, and that was huge for Pittsburgh.
Spiro Ditas, Rich Gannon, our entire CBS crew with you. O.co Coliseum. Temperature dipping towards the low 50s on an overcast day. Sweezing boots it to the back of the end zone. This is Tywan Jones. Now pass to 10. Excellent coverage by the Steelers after a 21-yard return by Jones. Next Sunday, the NFL on CBS serves up a doubleheader. First, most of you will see Alex Smith and the Chiefs take on Fred Jackson and the Bills, or Phillip Rivers and the Chargers against RG3 and the Redskins. Then it's these Steelers against Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. Check your local listings, beginning with JB, Dan Shannon, Coach, and Boomer on the NFL Today. Rich, same deal as a couple of minutes ago. If you're Pryor, can't take any chances here. There's still so much time left. First and 10, Pryor going play action, throwing on the run. What a catch, Denarius Moore. And now they say incomplete.
Well, that's one that Pryor liked to have back. I mean, he just sails on him. But it's been a frustrating day for some young receivers. You know, Bryce Butler, a rookie, starts off with a drop early in the game, comes right back on a ball he should catch. It gets intercepted by Cortez Allen. And then Jacoby Ford, he puts one on the ground, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are right back in this.
You see the drops today by the Oakland receivers. What does Greg Olsen have drawn up here? Reese in motion, 2nd and 10. Draw play to McFadden. Brought down inside the 20. Let's send you back to New York and James Brown.
Boomer, we know Denver can score quickly.
Down 21-7. They've scored 14 straight points. 4th and goal, 1-yard touchdown pass. I know Rich Gannon loves that. Peyton Manning to Joel Dreesen. Game is now tied 21-21.
And a lot more time remaining. Back to Spiro and Rich.
Well, Boomer, you know I never got a chance to throw it down inside the 5-yard line. Peyton Manning's probably got more touchdowns than any quarterback inside the 5-yard line.
Broncos can get you in a hurry. 3rd and 6. Steelers defense trying to get off the field. Pryor from the gun. Pocket collapses and they get to him. The ever elusive Terrelle Pryor wrapped up by Kiesel, the 12th-year veteran. And Oakland will punt.
Really nice job, first of all, setting the edge and now forcing Terrelle Pryor to come up inside and collapsing the pocket. You talk about 4 dots, 4 players around Pryor anytime he pulls the ball down and run. Really nice job there by that front 7.
2nd sack for Kiesel on the season and a 1st for the Steelers defense today. Marquette King. Good kick fielded by Brown, backpedaling. Signals fair catch, 44-yard punt. And now Roethlisberger and the Steelers with some momentum.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Subway Restaurants. Try the Tuscan Chicken Melt $6 footlong special today. And by Mercedes-Benz and the all-new CLA.
Spiro Dedes, Rich Gannon, our entire CBS crew with you from Oakland. 21-10 Raiders. With the Steelers after that last touchdown drive back in it. Looking for more. Le'Veon Bell tripped up after the catch by the future Hall of Famer Charles Woodson. Fantasy football fans, check out CBSSports.com. Player Challenge. It's a new 4-week game with a cash prize in every league. See rules and sign up at CBSSports.com/challenge.
We're trying to change some things up here. Go no huddle. Something that Ben Roethlisberger has always liked.
Roethlisberger pump faking, set. 4th time the Raiders have gotten to him. Vance Walker.
Well, they're bringing pressure, and Ben's deciding to hold the football. Sometimes it pays off, other times it doesn't. They're one short there, and Vance Walker's able to come off and make the play.
Rich, 4-down territory.
I don't think so, not yet. Not with 9:40 to go. Particularly when you look at where they're at in the field and how far they're backed up on 3rd down. Comes the pressure again.
3rd and 15. Roethlisberger has Brown, but he lost it.
Yeah, he didn't hold on to it. He lost it right at the end. What a terrific throw by Ben Roethlisberger, though. They bring the pressure off the edge, and you can see Antonio Brown. He's got to be able to squeeze this and hold on to it.
What a play and a recovery by Ross.
That's twice now. We saw him knock the one out on Heath Miller down on the goal line.
And that would have been a 25-yard pass play and first down for the Steelers. Esco to boot it away from about his own 25. Shaky day for Jacoby Ford. Signals fair catch. This is a Raiders bounce. 65-yard punt. But the Raiders will have it from the 20. We send you back to New York on a busy week 8 for an update.
Boomer, as I said before, Denver can score in bunches.
21 unanswered points by the Broncos. This is no Sean Moreno. He's going to take it in for a 35-yard screen pass to a touchdown. Denver takes the lead 28-21 over Washington.
Spiro and Rich.
How quickly that game is turned here. 21-10, Raiders in front. Just when you thought the Raiders had put the Steelers away, a couple of mistakes, critical turnovers. And now 24-year-old Terrelle Pryor back onto the field. 1st and 10. His pass over the middle. Streeter nearly a one-handed stab at it, as Pryor threw it behind him. And now the football, we're told, was tipped. It was Ziggy Hood who got a hand on it at the line of scrimmage. As we take a look at some of the statistical numbers, and Rich, I mentioned it earlier, but this is part of that next phase of evolution for Pryor. Can he put this game away and win it?
Well, it's experience, and this is an opportunity, to finish it.
2nd and 10, McFadden tripped up.
You can almost feel the momentum change a little bit in this one, Spiro. I mean, this is an opportunity we've been talking about. You get the experience of Ben Roethlisberger and this Pittsburgh team, and the youth and the inexperience with a young quarterback like Terrelle Pryor. And you got a team. You can't allow a team like Pittsburgh to hang around. You got to start making some plays here in the 4th quarter.
Steelers back-to-back wins over the Jets and the Ravens after that 0-4 start. Worst start for the Steelers in 45 years. Here come the Steelers, 3rd and 8. Pryor surveys the field. Polamalu forces him out. Troy Polamalu able to make the big play, and the Steelers defense off the field.
Just keep an eye on Troy the whole play. I mean, there's a reason why they've got him down there. He's got coverage. You see him fly out in the coverage. Now, once he realizes that Pryor's going to pull it down, he's not even going to wait. He's just going to come up and make this play. You talk about great instincts at the safety position.
Mentioned it earlier. Dick LeBeau in our conversation yesterday said he has never seen a player process what an opposing offense is trying to do better than Polamalu. Says I basically just try to stay out of his way. Antonio Brown tiptoeing past the 30, off the sideline. Brown inside Raiders territory and brought down by the punter Marquette King inside the 30 after a 45-yard run back.
Well, he outkicked his coverage. I mean, that was a terrific kick by Marquette King. Look how far back. Now look how much space Antonio Brown has, and some really nice blocks, and now he just hits it up the sidelines. It's a good effort here by King to make the tackle. He's just angry at that point.
It was a 58-yard punt, and King had to make the tackle. 1st and 10. Another chance for the Steelers. Roethlisberger, that pump fake, spinning away from trouble, finding Sanders at the 25. So good yardage on 1st down. For those of you expecting to see 60 minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS. And the Steelers and the Raiders, Spiro Dedes alongside Rich Gannon, are scored 21-10, Oakland in front. 60 minutes will be seen in its entirety following the game except on the West Coast. Felix Jones lining up in the slot towards the bottom of your screen on 2nd and 3. Roethlisberger over the middle, incomplete. Emmanuel Sanders unable to bring it in.
Well, he's missed Emmanuel Sanders a couple times now on these routes where he's had to work backside. I don't know if he's anticipating Sanders just throttling it down in the hole or continuing to run right through. But for whatever reason, Roethlisberger and Sanders have missed a couple of those throws.
Rich, what kind of play you like here for Roethlisberger?
Well, I think there's an opportunity here for Pittsburgh. They got a decision to make if they don't get it here. I mean, do they kick the field goal or do they go for it on 4th down? They're down by 11.
3 timeouts left, 3rd and 3. It is no official call. It was through the offensive player's hands, and it is intercepted. Tracy Porter with a monstrous defensive play.
Well, they run the slant. It comes right back. And that ball, I don't think, ever touches the ground. Talk about unexpected good fortune, just being in the right place at the right time.
It was Antonio Brown, the intended receiver, who had it initially. Boy, did that football hit the turf.
I don't know that it did. I think he gets both hands under it.
Call on the field is an interception for the Raiders. And Tracy Porter, a 6th-year cornerback, reunited here in Oakland under his old coordinator in New Orleans, Dennis Allen.
Well, they are so much better at the corner position. It starts with Mike Jenkins, and then and I think it's so hard to tell whether it touches the ground.
The critical thing here is that the call on the field was interception, so they have to be positive with the video to overturn it. And again, I'm just not sure there's enough.
I don't think it touches the ground. I mean, I think he's getting possession of it, and he's starting to pull it back up. You see the ball start moving back upwards as he gets that right hand underneath it. You don't really see the turf move at all.
Well, you often hear that phrase, by a fingertip. This time
we've had a couple of them today.
Literally. Unbelievable.
A really nice tackle there by Mike Jenkins.
Rich, you hit on it earlier. This arguably was the worst secondary in the NFL last season. And what a difference a year makes. This revamped defense, 10 new starters from a year ago.
Well, the secondary gives them a chance, I think, to do some of the things they want to do up front with their pass rush and some of their pressure packages. But clearly, Tracy Porter, Mike Jenkins, 2 veteran players. It allows them to play a lot more man-to-man coverage and bring more pressures with guys like Woodson.
If it stands, it'll be Porter's first interception as a Raider. It's probably the best angle that we have.
Yeah, I think the call stands. I mean, I think he just does a terrific job keeping his eye on the ball the whole time and scooping that one up.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. 1st and 10.
Tracy Porter mobbed on that Raiders sideline, and a lot to think about for Antonio Brown. At the drop on the last Pittsburgh possession as Roethlisberger throws his 2nd interception. Rich, every time you think Pittsburgh had a chance, they make a mistake.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. You know, turnovers have been a big story in this one for Pittsburgh. And now if you're their defense, you've got 3 timeouts left. And you've got to be able to create your own negative play. You've got to be able to come up with a takeaway right here.
Well, that time more about what the defense did. And an incredible play by Jenkins to draw it loose. 1st and 10. So the Raiders, Rich, staying conservative here, and the Steelers have really dug in defensively. as the clock continues to run, 6 and change remaining. Coming up, time permitting, we'll send you to the Subway postgame show. JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cower in New York. All the latest scores and highlights on the Subway postgame show.
This would be a place to take a shot, Spiro. You know, you got 2nd and 10, and you know, Pittsburgh's not going to allow you to run the football. You're going to get one-on-one coverage outside. This may be a chance for Pryor, who throws the deep ball well, to take a shot down the field.
Terrelle Pryor on the 8th start of his brief career, trying to put this game on ice. 2nd and 10. McFadden bounces to the outside. The pursuit relentless by the Steelers defense. McFadden getting 5, and it'll be 3rd down coming up.
Oh, they have so many defenders down around the line of scrimmage. Look at Troy Polamalu down there, and this is just a good individual effort by Darren McFadden. And you've got to be able to keep 2 hands on the ball now when you get in the open field. You've got a lot of these linebackers, guys like Timmons, coming in there trying to knock it out.
Timmons playing with a cast, that broken left hand. You see McFadden's numbers. Couple of touchdown runs. What did the Raiders diagram up here on 3rd and 5? It's a draw play, needed to get outside the 30.
A very conservative call there. And the boos come out from this Oakland Raider home crowd.
Well, it's a 2-score game here. Dennis Allen feeling comfortable enough with his defense. Well, he will not elect to gamble.
There's teams that feel pressure, and there's teams that apply pressure. And right now, the Raiders aren't applying pressure offensively. They're doing a good job defensively, but they're very conservative in their approach here late in the game on offense.
I told you earlier, the Raiders have not won coming out of a bye week in 10 years. Trying to do it today after an off week last Sunday. 2-4 on the season. Excellent punt by King. This is Brown from the 20. Across the field, going backwards. 53-yard punt, and you can't overstate what Marquette King has done on these last couple of punts. This week, don't miss the show that's in a league by itself with guys who take on all 32 teams and each other every week. James Brown, Phil Simms, Chris Collinsworth, with the artistry of NFL films and the chemistry of the boys inside the NFL. The show the pros watch Wednesday at 9, only on Showtime.
Well, Big Ben's got to get these guys in and out of the huddle now with 4:22. They've got to pick up the pace and tempo and go no huddle.
Steelers with all 3 timeouts left, 4:22 to play, down 11. Right in front of the black hole here in Oakland. Roethlisberger finds his man. It's Jericho Cotchery, the longtime Jet, and forced out of bounds right at the 10. A lot of talk this week about Roethlisberger and Todd Haley finally able to break through as we're taking a look at the replay.
Yeah, and you know, the more I watch Ben Roethlisberger, he's so good at stepping up in the pocket. You know, if you watch they've got some issues now at the left tackle position. They've had to rework the offensive line. They've got Mike Adams in there. Beacham has actually moved into to the left guard position, and they've forced Roethlisberger with the rush to have to step up.
Excellent play. Porter got a hand on it. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Well, they run a little pick route, and Porter's able to get underneath it all and find a way to get that left hand in there and knock it away from Jericho Cotchery.
David DeCastro leaving the game with an ankle injury earlier. They lost Ramon Foster to a concussion, so a very thin offensive line for the Steelers, dealing with even more injuries. 2nd and 10. They line up Bell in the slot, bottom of the screen. Roethlisberger throwing. It's caught. Antonio Brown sliding at the 40, 12 yards and a 1st down.
Well, look at Ben Roethlisberger's eyes. I mean, he is looking right there, and he just does a nice job and a terrific catch. Great concentration by Antonio Brown going to get that ball.
9th catch for Brown, 77 yards. Raiders coming, 1st and 10. Roethlisberger airing it out inside Raiders territory to Sanders. 20 yards. and the Steelers move the chains again.
And this is really where Ben Roethlisberger's at his best, in the no-huddle, calling plays at the line of scrimmage. Just wheeling and dealing. This empty no backfield set. They're getting 5 receivers out in the route.
First and 10, Roethlisberger under pressure and nearly intercepted. That one hit Jason Hunter right in his chest.
Well, this is clearly 4-down territory, and just Ben is, again, he's the master of sliding and not taking the sack. The thing he does a good job of is when he gets in trouble, he makes sure he cups that ball, he pulls it in nice and tight. With those numbers in the second half, 13 to 22. You see the concern on the face of Dennis Allen, the Raiders head coach.
A win by the Steelers last Sunday against the Ravens, the 28th comeback drive by Roethlisberger in the fourth quarter in his 10-year career. Does he have any more magic left? Still 2 scores back. 2nd and 10, and what a catch that time by Brown. Over the middle, 9 yards and close to another first down.
Well, Brown and Sanders now are starting to win some of the one-on-one battles against this Raiders secondary.
Steelers going to hurry up on 3rd and short. Bell stood up at the line of scrimmage. Needed to get to the 30, and he did. First down, Steelers. You see the clock continues to run. 3 timeouts left. Rich not taking one yet. I'll get the 2-minute warning here in a moment.
Well, we got all 3 timeouts left.
Raiders showing blitz, and they get to Roethlisberger. Daniel Muir getting there for the Raiders. 5th sack for Oakland.
Well, the one thing they couldn't do on first down, take a sack, just throw it away in that situation.
2-minute warning as the Steelers running out of time on CBS. You see Mike Tomlin, nervous moments. 2 minutes, 22 seconds on the drive, Rich, as we hit the 2-minute warning. Have they used up too much time, do you think, on the drive?
Well, not yet, Spiro, but the clock is becoming a factor now. They've got 3 timeouts. There's other ways to stop the clock other than take a timeout, but remember now, they've got to score a touchdown and get a 2-point conversion or a field goal. If they get a long situation on 4th down, they may elect to kick the field goal first.
Keep in mind, Sweezum has missed a couple of chip shots today. 2nd and 16. Roethlisberger to Country. Inside the 20, it's a first down. And an enormous play as DJ Hayden, the rookie cornerback, forced him out.
What a terrific throw here. I mean, this is a contested throw. You look right there, it's pretty good coverage by Tracy Porter. Perfect throw. The Country gets it done.
17 yards and a first down for the Steelers at the 19.
Now, the only thing he can't do here is take a sack. Throw the ball away if the pressure gets too much.
Steelers have all 3 timeouts left. Roethlisberger pulls it back, little shuffle pass to Bell. Open field. And he's brought down by Kevin Burnett. Rich, what do you do here if you're Haley?
I don't think you think about a field goal. I think you've got to get the touchdown here in the 2-point conversion with the clock situation.
Steelers need 2 scores. Obviously, a 2-point conversion will have to come into play. There's Sweezum, if you've just joined us, missing a couple of easy chip shots. 1 from 34, 1 from 32. What's going through his mind? 2nd and 3. All 3 timeouts left for the Steelers. They mark it outside the 12. This the 11th play of the drive, but now Roethlisberger will have to burn a timeout.
Well, he just wasted one there. I mean, clearly some confusion between Roethlisberger and the sidelines.
Tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes and an investigation into the attack on Benghazi, followed by new episodes of The Amazing Race, The Good Wife, and The Mentalist, only CBS.
Now, if you're Todd Haley, the offensive coordinator, you've got a lot going on in your mind right now. I mean, not only are you thinking about these plays, and you got a 2-point play that you're obviously thinking about, and then of course you're Mike Tomlin, you're thinking about the onside kick. I mean, you're staying out in front of it, and you're trying to think about the different situations. Right there, Jason Tarver, the defensive coordinator for the Raiders, is just finding a way to get a stop here.
Rich, how do you waste the timeout in that scenario? You've got a veteran quarterback in Roethlisberger. This is the worst possible time for the Steelers. 2nd and 3. This is the 11th play of the drive. Roethlisberger over the middle. It's the tight end Miller taking on tacklers inside the 5, forced out by Hayden.
We've seen some really good efforts. We saw it a play or two ago from Le'Veon Bell, now from Heath Miller. Watch the effort that he makes to try and get out of bounds. He absolutely is aware of the situation in the game. Nice effort there by Heath Miller.
Miller had a touchdown reception negated earlier. This is 1st and goal, but the Steelers running out of time. 1:36 remaining. Roethlisberger. Raiders coming. Can he get it away? It's flung out and intercepted. Late penalty marker comes in the end zone. Brandon Ross has it. It was Kevin Burnett bringing the heat for the Raiders.
Well, that was an awful decision by Ben Roethlisberger, but he may have caught a break. We may have defensive holding here by the Raiders.
John Parry,
Pryor to the pass. Holding. Defense. Number 29. Half the distance to the goal and an automatic 1st down.
Well, Brandon Ross, who's actually had a really nice game for the Raiders, he's going to be called with the hold, but Spiro, Ben Roethlisberger historically has had a very difficult time giving up on a play. Sometimes he's got a tough time throwing it away and living for another down. There was absolutely no reason for him to make that throw in that situation. I mean, clearly they don't block the end man on the line of scrimmage. Kevin Burnett comes off. He's got the ball in his left hand. Right there, you're going to see Ross. He grabs Cotchery. Right as that one's coming out of Ben Roethlisberger's hands.
Steelers have had 9 lives today. Every time you think they're dead. But just $1:27 left. This is 1st and goal. Roethlisberger on the give. Bill. And the Steelers still not going away.
Well, you don't have time to celebrate. You've got to get right back at it now. You've got a 2-point conversion here that's absolutely critical. Nice job by Ben Roethlisberger recognizing that the Raiders were playing pass and just slipping Le'Veon Bell up the middle.
So a 2-point conversion attempt. You have to get it here to give yourself a chance. There's Dennis Allen. Steelers down to 2 timeouts left with 1:24.
Well, a lot of things have to happen. They've got to get the 2-point conversion, and of course they've got to get the onside kick to get the ball back.
12-play scoring drive, but can they punch it in here for 2? And around play, Sanders changes his mind, fakes the pass, and he is in. Miraculous play by Sanders, and the Steelers somehow still alive.
Well, this was a pass. I think this was a designed pass, a little trickery on the 2-point play. You're going to see him come in motion. They toss it around. Now Ben's going to get out in front of it because he knows he's got to block and seal the edge for Sanders to make this throw. It's not there, and he just makes a terrific play by running it in for the 2-point conversion.
Emmanuel Sanders, the 4th-year man out of SMU, bounced back nicely from knee injuries last season. And this is a 3-point football game. Oakland led 21-3 at halftime if you've just joined us. Steelers looking for a 3rd straight win. Desperately trying to keep pace in the AFC North.
That's Danny Smith right here, the gentleman in the middle with the gray hair. He is the special teams coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that gentleman right there, Bobby April. So he's got his hands team out there, and he's just going to make sure he's got the 11 best guys that can handle the ball. You'll have some receivers and some running backs, a tight end out there that can handle the ball. And of course, as you look at Danny Smith, the special teams coordinator of the Steelers, he's got something up his sleeve as well. Swisham's got to get some air on this. Kick it. Typically, you like to see the ball bounce a couple times and then jump up in the air and allow one of these players on this side of the ball to run down and make a big play. Now, you're not sure if it's going to come on this side or this side. You've got to watch the kicker. It looks like it's going to go to the right.
Ball comes off the tee. Well,
now these guys up front, typically, they're the ones looking to block unless it comes right to them. They're looking to take away the hit. And these players are the ones that jump up and make the catch based on the kick by Swisam.
Oh, it has been a nightmare day for Swisam. A couple of missed kicks from inside 35 yards. We can make up for it right here. Onside kick. And the Raiders field it. Not the bounce Swisam was looking for. So now minute 24, and those two missed field goals, Rich, looming awfully large.
Yeah, Swisam's had a tough day. You know, he missed one from 34 and another one from 32, and really the same on the right hash. And we saw him come out at halftime and work in this part of the field. And then that onside kick, I mean, it just didn't do what he wanted. It's like hitting the golf ball, a little lob wedge. You want to make it bounce and jump up in the air. That one was flat all the way.
So the Steelers, again, 2 timeouts left. Oakland, Rich, an offense that looked good in the first half, able to move the football. Only 1 first down for the Raiders in the second half.
Well, the Raiders got to run it here 3 times. And
first and 10, McFadden. Couple of rushing touchdowns today. Ball came loose, but after McFadden hit the turf, clock stopped at a minute 20 as the Steelers will take their second timeout. There's Ben Roethlisberger last week, the 28th comeback win with that fourth quarter drive over the Baltimore Ravens. Told you about Cincinnati winning big today over the Jets. Tomlin's bunch 0-4 to start the season. Somehow looking for a 3rd straight win.
It's been sloppy football for Pittsburgh today, really. And you look at in every phase of the game. I mean, offensively, they've not run the ball like they'd hoped to coming into this one. They've turned the football over. Defensively, they give up a lot of big plays, explosive plays, and we've talked about the issues that they've had in the kicking game. You can't go on the road and do those type of things and expect to come away with a win.
Now we are under review. Apparently to look if that McFadden fumble came before contact with the turf.
Well, he's got 2 hands on the ball. It's a question of does it hit the arm of William Gay or does it hit the ground?
Well, from that vantage point, it looked like he came loose as he hit the ground. So this one a little bit too close for comfort for Dennis Allen.
But he's still able to come up with it, so but that is scary.
There's Dennis Allen, second-year Raiders head coach, coaching against the guy he's looked up to for so long. Spoke yesterday of Dick LeBeau in almost reverential terms.
Well, they're trying to create what Pittsburgh has in terms of continuity and consistency. You know, you think about that gentleman right there, Mike Tomlin. Pittsburgh's had 3 head coaches in the last 45 years. So you have continuity with your staff and your schemes, and then you draft players that fit what you're trying to do. That's what Dennis Allen and Reggie McKenzie are trying to accomplish here in Oakland.
Kind of surprised this review has taken as long as it has. Here's John Parry.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field has been confirmed. The left forearm and left elbow was down prior to the ball coming loose. Second down.
So second down, they'll spot it just outside the 45-yard line.
2nd and 9 from the 45.
Raiders as conservative as you can be in the second half. Again, just 1 first down since halftime. That's Rivera in motion, 2nd and 9. McFadden. Boy, Polamalu almost took the handoff.
He's amazing.
He's got a hair full of turf. as the Steelers will take their final timeout. Bengals a winner today, big over the Jets. As Rich, they start to distance themselves at the top of the AFC North.
And they've had some dramatic wins the last couple of weeks. Chance to see them last week in Detroit, win on the last-second field goal. Week before, they win in overtime in Buffalo.
The Steelers have not gotten consecutive seasons without the playoffs in 13 years. They lose today. They're in trouble with still a long way left to go, of course. So 21-18 Raiders, a minute 16 to play. And the Steelers now out of timeouts. Darren McFadden lining up. I formation set. On 3rd and 10. McFadden lunging forward inside the 45-yard line. Cameron Hayward on the tackle, and now the Raiders can run some clock.
They may get the ball back with around 30 seconds. Raiders will run this thing all the way down. They've got 28 seconds left on the play clock. And Ben Roethlisberger talking some strategy with Todd Haley, the offensive coordinator.
Roethlisberger told us yesterday, last season, a feeling out process with Haley. Of course, so a lot was made about the relationship between those two. Last couple of weeks, it looked like they had made some breakthroughs, but it was a struggle today, to say the least.
Raiders have taken away a game in this situation. So 28 seconds left, and you could really use a great punt here by Marquette King, who has struggled through the first 7 games with punts inside the 20.
And if you're Roethlisberger, Rich, obviously you can only really work with the outside of the field. No timeouts left.
Offense.
Yeah, you really got. I mean, you got to use the boundary. And of
down.
course, the Raiders are going to do everything they can to defend the boundary and force receivers into the middle of the field and try and rally to make some tackles. But the thing we know about Ben Roethlisberger is he can heave it. You know, that's the one thing that he can do. He can throw it a long way. And he'll hold it. He'll take a couple extra hitches if he feels he can make that big throw down the field.
Antonio Brown inside his own 5. As King will try to pin him deep.
I wouldn't have given this kid a chance to return one.
Penalty marker comes in behind the catch. Brown going the wrong way. 40-yard punt. Jeremy Stewart on the special teams tackle, and what a day for King as we await the penalty.
That may be a hold as well.
King replacing the longtime punter Shane Leckler.
Receiving team in the 28, half the distance to the goal. First down.
This is about as tough a predicament as a quarterback can be faced with, Rich, inside the 5 with no timeouts.
Not a lot of plays, but you always got to defend for that hook and lateral play, where they throw the ball to the outside receiver. You have a back or another receiver that comes back around. So if you're the Raiders secondary, they are going to be very deep. And look how deep they are. Charles Woodson's going to be almost 35, 40 yards from the line of scrimmage. I mean, they're off the camera. Go ahead and pan out. Look how deep they are in the secondary. They've got to be able to keep everything in front of them. A lot of room on the boundary if you can get by the first level of defense.
1st and 10, Roethlisberger airing it out over the middle. It's caught by Sanders, but a lot of times going to come off the clock. Sanders really no play, but to just try to kind of pitch it, they said he was down.
Well, they can't even get the ball spotted. The game's over. You really give yourself no chance when you throw it in the middle of the field.
Waiting for the final signal, and it is over. Sanders, a desperation play as the Pittsburgh Steelers see their 2-game winning streak come to an end in Oakland. And for the Raiders, their first win out of a bye in 10 years, 21-18, your final. Tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes, followed by new episodes of The Amazing Race, The Good Wife, and The Mentalist. Now for Rich Gannon, Spiro Ditas saying so long from Oakland. You've been watching the NFL on CBS.